fuck?
Dude, I'm so down. This is crazy. Dude,
you hear
got
yourself?
No, I do.
Cool.
I do.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
I do
Can
hear you.
This.
I do hear the music.
Okay.
This is
Amazing.
crazy.
We're off to the races over here.
Checking out the sound. Give me a sound check. Give me a sound check.
Yo, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Bay Area memes.
Hey.
Like the salsa vibes.
That's it, baby. Boom. All right. Sucio's home studio.
This is honestly the most legit studio I've actually ever been in. I'm not even kidding. It's usually if someone's like, "Hey, bro, I got a studio." They have a MacBook and a dream.
Yeah, exactly. I started like that, man. I started like that. All right,
Well,
so we've already started recording because this is
cool.
already awesome. And then, boom, fucking Sucio Talk podcast, Oakland, Sucio Talk, Bay Area memes, Sucio Talk. Abraham Woodliff.
How you guys doing?
Sir Abraham Woodliff.
Sir Abraham. It sounds much more fancy, sir.
There we go, baby. Sucio Talk number 165. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just glad to be here. A lot of shit has happened.
Yeah, I know, man.
Year.
Yeah, I've been. First off, how are you feeling?
I'm doing really good considering I had a tumor.
Yeah.
I wasn't lying to get out of the podcast.
No. It's okay. I'm
I'm about to be at the podcast. Like, no, you're not.
That's a good excuse to have a tumor.
It is a great excuse. That's why I had it. I'm like, I don't want to do the podcast. I'm gonna go with the tumor.
There you go. That's the best way to do it, man.
A lot of shit has happened actually. Like fucking the last year has probably been the craziest year of my life in terms of just like everything.
Yeah.
Like for example, like so basically, you know, the whole shit with like so basically. Obviously, I'm a meme page.
Yeah.
And I started the meme page because I wanted to be a writer.
Yeah.
Which was like, because like basically I didn't know how to get in. And then like, you know, the whole Palestine thing happened. And I started posting about that.
Yeah.
And dude, I like, you know, the whole thing about like limited reach. They literally shut my page down. And then the tumor thing happened. And then someone at Facebook actually removed the restrictions off my page.
Really?
Like someone at Facebook who actually works at Facebook. I'm not going to say their name, but they hit me up. They're like, we like your page too. Like the employees like my page. So they're like,
so they reinstated your ass.
They limit your reach so much though. Like,
Yeah.
because I have like fucking, like there's been months where I've reached 10 million people. And then they like, after like I made like a few posts, like being like, fuck Israel, basically.
Right.
Like my reach went from like that to like 10,000 people, like 1/10 of like my followers.
Right.
So that happened, and that was fucking crazy. I was like, okay.
Was that devastating during the same time as you having health problems?
Yeah.
Everything was crumbling?
So basically, I'm like, you know, all this shit's happening. I'm trying to use my, because that's the thing is like, I feel like if you have a big enough audience, you should use it, no matter what type of content you're making.
Yeah.
You should use it for some semblance of good, especially when the mainstream media is full of shit.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's like the thing. And then like, basically, I thought I had sciatica at first. My back just hurt. And then I went to the doctors. The doctors were like, you got sciatica, you're fine. Also, they ran my blood tests and shit. And they're like, actually, for a fat guy, you're kind of killing it.
Yeah.
They're like, you don't have diabetes and you don't have high blood pressure. You're fucking perfect.
So you're like,
quit
baby.
bitching, pussy. That was Kaiser's like energy.
Yeah.
And then basically what happened from there was like, I'm like, I woke up in bed like crying, like actually crying from pain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not sciatica. And then I had to like basically argue for like 20 minutes with the doctor to get like an MRI. And the doctor was a dick, but they eventually did it because I wasn't going to leave.
Yeah.
And so they eventually did it. And then the whole tone changed. They're like, hey buddy, how you doing? And then like he like put his hand on my shoulder and I'm like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
I wanted him to come back and be a bigger dick. He's like, I told you, stupid fuck, get the fuck out of my office.
Right.
You owe us $3,000. I was hoping for that. But he was like really nice, and he's like, "What we're gonna do is we're gonna get you connected to a therapist." Because
that's the first thing he said.
That's the first thing he said before he told me. He's like, "So I want to sit down, let's talk." He's like, "So you have a tumor." And then he pulled up this like thing, and it basically just like it's my spine, but with like basically this donut hole, just chilling. And he's like, "It could be cancerous. We don't know. It's just an image." And I'm like, sick.
Damn.
And then I'm like, and then the first thing I do is like, I'm just gonna talk shit online about that. Like it's weird if you're like in like internet world long enough.
Yeah.
You're like everything's content. It's like I can get hit by a car, I'll start live streaming. Like, what's good? like that's basically.
I thought about that too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like no matter what happens, you can kind of like utilize it to kind of be silly on the internet. But so that happened. I had the surgery, and then when I had the surgery, it was fucking even crazier. 'Cause it was like, you know, fucking. I couldn't walk. Like I was legit paralyzed. Like I couldn't feel, like it was the craziest thing. Cause like the first thing like when I woke up, the doctor like came in and he's like, I'm glad you made it. Cause they don't tell you can die. Yeah. But like, so what I learned was spinal surgery is actually the second riskiest surgery you can do. Really? Behind brain surgery. You are more likely to survive heart surgery than spine surgery. Because if they slip, because your brain stem goes down your spine. Yeah. And if they slip and they cut that shit, either you're dead or you're like a vegetable. Yeah, you're just fucked. So the doctor's like, glad you made it. But at this time, I'm like, I couldn't feel my legs or my dick or my balls. And I'm like, you come back right now. And you tell the doctor to finish the job and kill me. This is the worst shit. But like for 2 weeks, I had no feeling in my leg. And what they did essentially was just get me really high. Yeah. So they took my tumor and then gave me an opiate addiction. I'm just playing, but like that. But basically, yeah, they just gave drugs they gave you. They gave me morphine. They gave me Oxycontin. I was on morphine drip. It was like I was just gone the whole. If I looked too awake, they're like, let's turn you up. So for like 2 weeks, and like because I was high all the time, when I was awake, I was like low key hallucinating. Yeah. So sometimes the hallucinations were dope. And sometimes they weren't, because like also the first 2 days you have to lay flat. So like I was laying and I mean flat. Like they have you strapped down where you can't move. So like I would wake up not knowing what the fuck I am on morphine. And I'm like fuck, and they're like, you're going back to sleep now. This is happening to you. I'm like, all right. But you know, I made it through. I once I was able to walk around, because like when I couldn't walk at all. Also, what was crazy is my heart didn't adjust. So like that was the thing. I had a healthy heart and stuff. But if you don't move, like legit, the people say I'm laying around in bed all day. But if you legit don't move for like 4 or 5 days, and you try to move, your heart rate goes from like normal to like 160. Really? Learned that. Yeah, it was fucking crazy. And then basically that happened, and then I started dating this girl, and then me and the girl broke up. Just a lot of shit. And
you started dating a girl while you were in the hospital?
The whole shit's crazy. Okay, so basically, this was like before the tumor was like the tumor. It was just back pain. Started dating this one girl. It was just a hookup thing, but then like the tumor thing happened. We started dating. She like took care of me. Yeah. And then they just kind of fizzled out. And then also, I just been getting a lot of weird bad luck. Yeah. Like fucking.
Do you think the tumor held your relationship together?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, no. I don't know. We had like really good chemistry, and then we just started fighting about dumb shit. Right. And then it just kind of fizzled out. Right. But like it could have. Shout out to the tumor. Really kept that thing going.
Yeah. I mean, look at the bright side.
It may be. You never know. Yeah. But then, like, I just been getting like weird, good, and bad luck simultaneously. Yeah. So like, I'm like the writer who's like really well known in the Bay, but like none of the major publications want to fuck with me because of everything I've ever said in my entire life. Right. So the only time they reach out to me is like, we need someone with a hot, edgy take. And then like, so SF Standard reached out to me recently. I probably shouldn't say this. That's okay. But SF Standard reached out to me and they're like, hey, you're a real piece of shit. Like
SF is really,
yeah, you'll say whatever. It's like, we want you to write an article defending sideshows. And I'm like, fine. And I do a great job. Yeah. I defended the fuck out of sideshows. I made it a social class issue. I'm like, if you don't like your car getting stolen, you're racist.
Yo, so you're that guy.
I was that guy.
Do they put your name on it?
Yeah. I don't care. Okay, I'm here for all the bullshit. Because I'm kind of one of those guys who's like devil's advocate to the point where like I can make an articulate counter argument for something I don't even believe in. Like that. I don't know why. And then unfortunately, this is the bad part. It's just like, I literally send in an article defending sideshows. It gets approved. And then fucking a sideshow happens, like 20 people get shot. Yeah. And they're like, hey, how you doing?
This guy endorses
Luckily, they didn't publish it like, hey, buddy, I don't know if the timing's right for the sideshow article, considering. And I'm like, did the car shoot? But like, I understood. But like, that's the thing. It's like I've just been like, I get like really good luck and really bad luck simultaneously all the time. So that's kind of my thing. It's like when the page first popped off, and people were like, hey, like when it was at like 50,000 fucking followers. Yeah. And people were seeing me in the street like, hey, Barry and memes. I was broke as fuck and I looked like such a loser. Right. I was working at a warehouse in Richmond, like stacking boxes for HelloFresh. And they'd see me in my uniform and be like, that's the guy. And I'd be like, yeah, that's the guy. I live in a garage in Vallejo. Living the dream. Like, it was fucking wild shit. And then I got into tech. And I don't have a degree. I'm like retarded. I don't know how I did any of this.
Yeah, was that a goal to get the Bay Area memes page to that much?
Okay, so basically what happened was, so I'll give you the whole story.
Yeah.
So basically I wanted to be a writer, and I was always naturally good at writing. Like my hustle was like, I would sell papers to rich kids. Like I was kind of a delinquent piece of shit, but for whatever reason I could write. Yeah. So like if like a kid who was like a rich retard, basically, I shouldn't say that, but if a rich kid who didn't really study wanted help, I would write their paper and they would get good grades. And that was my hustle. And I'm like, okay. And then I started writing poetry because I was like kind of a depressed kid. And I'd write poetry and stuff like, Charles Bukowski. I read Bluebird by Charles Bukowski and I was like really moved by it. And I was like, I could fucking do this. Like, so I started writing poetry, but I didn't know how to get in the world. I didn't understand how to meet a publisher or an agent. I didn't know how to do any of that shit. So I'm like, what do I do? And I had written all these poems and these short stories, and my friends who are prone to lying were like, these are good. They're like, your friend's like, dope, yeah, whatever, follow your dream. And I'm like, I need to know from somebody who's not my friend. So basically I'm like, how do I get my shit out there in a way where like people will read it that aren't going to be nice to me? And the internet's already mean. So if you get a compliment on the internet, it means more because everyone's just a dick.
You're right.
Doesn't matter what you're doing. So I was like, okay. And then I finally got professionally published through this publication called The Bold Italic. And they were kind of a thing. They ended up getting bought by like this super PAC in San Francisco, like basically rich tech guys trying to destroy the city. They ended up buying the publication, which sucks. But my first articles were published through them. And then I wrote this article telling artists, because for whatever reason, I understood, like, be sensational. It doesn't matter. Like, if you want to troll and be successful online, don't attack people, attack ideas, because that way you're attacking multiple people and they'll all respond.
Right.
So that's something I figured out.
Okay.
And so basically I lived in the Bay Area my whole life. I remember my mom was from the Mission. I remember like going to the Mission District and like there used to be little signs and shit on windows and be like 1-bedroom apartment, $800 a month. And it was like a poor neighborhood. And then I remember like around 2012, 2013, seeing those go away and the new sign saying $3,000 for a studio apartment. And I still saw artists like trying to do things there. And I'm like, are you guys fucking dumb? Like, you're not going to be able to like do your little art thing while paying $3,000 for a studio apartment, or like a lot of the artists I know, like they're really talented, but they like walk dogs for a living. like you're not gonna make it. I'm sorry.
They're the fucking 11 dog people.
There's like 40. They're like a fleet of dogs, and they're like, I paint.
That's crazy.
And that's literally what it is. And then I'm like, and then I wrote this article being like, yo, artists should just abandon San Francisco because the city does not give a fuck about you. And they will kill you for $1 in a second. And that was my article. And that was like the first professionally published article I put out through the Italic. And then there's this guy named Ev Williams, who was the original founder of Twitter before Jack Dorsey, before Elon Musk. He was like the original Twitter guy.
Right.
And he was like, fuck you. but like in a professional way. But he responded to it. Like the founder of Twitter read my article and was like, fuck this guy. And then I'm like, okay. And then I wrote a response article to him. And this is before Bay Area memes. I was literally like living in a garage in Vallejo, and I have like a billionaire flexing on me on the internet. And I'm like, this is lit. Let's go. And I'm like, I hit my editor up. I'm like, going to write a response. I'm going to shit on him. I've been shitting on rich people my whole life. I've just never been able to give. I've never had the opportunity to this level.
Right.
I don't know. I like fucking with rich people. I don't know why, because like they're so full of shit. And so if you just poke at them, they don't know what to say and they kind of malfunction.
I hear that.
So I love
that. They
got
diplomacy.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, I'm like, now I have Twitter guy, the founder of Twitter, responding to some stupid shit I wrote that I nervously wrote. And it wasn't even that edgy because I was new. I wasn't sure. I didn't want to like press too many buttons. Then I talked to my editor and I'm like, yo, who's now a professor at some like cool like school. He's doing very well for himself. I am not, but he's doing very well. But I was like, I'm going to write a response. And I wrote the response and my editor saw it and he's like, this is great. But Ev Williams owns Medium, which owns the Bold Italic. This is before the Super PAC bought them. And they're like, because of political reasons, we cannot fucking publish this. And then ever since that situation, I was basically in a situation where time and time again, anytime I put something out, I was getting hit with editorial roadblocks. And I'm like, okay, so and this is before I even had a GED. I was like, I was like, I don't know. I was like a fucked up kid. So like, I didn't really make shit work until later on in life.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, so I got a handful of professionally published articles. I got the attention of a billionaire. Obviously I'm doing something right. I don't know how to replicate that though. And I obviously don't want to have to play by their rules entirely because then I'm kind of their bitch, which sucks. So I'm like, how do I get the same effect as having a media infrastructure without having to kind of basically placate these people? So I'm like, and then I was on Reddit and I was like, memes. I'm like, what if I just started just talking shit and making memes and without putting the writing out there, like build the meme page first and then slip the writing in. And I was like, this isn't going to work. The first thing I said, there's no way this is going to work.
Is there a meme builder?
I use Photoshop. They have a really lazy one called Meme Generator. You go to memegenerator.com. You just upload an image and just put some text on there. That's 90% of my memes. I get real lazy. The only people that make me want to actually make good memes is like mid-century modern or Damas stay-at-home dad. There's like these little pages that are like actually good, and I'm capable of making actually good memes, but I'm also very lazy because people are going to click like no matter what for the most part, especially if you have a big enough audience. But then I'll see something like Mid-Century does, like Herman Wakefield. It's like their pseudonym, but they're dope as fuck. They're super funny, and then I'm like, it makes me go, I need to stop being a piece of shit and actually make good content. But like, so I'll use Photoshop for those. I'll actually like put some effort in. But you could fuck around with like memegenerator.com or .org, and just do that.
Right. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because once you get a big enough audience, people are just going to click like. And if you just talk shit about the Bay, be like, haha, isn't San Francisco foggy? Someone will click like, and that's what originally my shit was. And then I just
fuck you, Carl.
I hate that shit. The Carl the Fog thing. I know some like
Carl
rich tech guy who's
named it.
I don't know. I don't know who's behind
Bay
that
Area
account.
folklore. Does anybody know?
It's probably a guy wearing a Patagonia vest.
Yeah.
I don't know that for sure, but it has big Patagonia vest energy.
It does.
It just has rich guy who moved to San Francisco 5 years ago, and he's like, isn't this novel? And then he made a Twitter account and it worked. I've met a lot, like once I got into tech, I've met a lot of like rich guys who are just unbothered by everything, and they're like toxic positive.
Yeah.
Like that, Sam Oakland. They're toxic positive. Like they'll be like walking through San Francisco, and they'll like someone will be like dying of like a fentanyl overdose, and they'll like walk over them and they're like, every day's a new day. If you fail today, try again tomorrow.
Exactly.
Tomorrow he might be a VC. Like that's the type of shit they do. It's really funny. So there's always room to innovate. I'll say some shit like that, and I'm like, I want to kill you, but I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I just go, yeah. There's other like because they're rich, so I'm nice to them. Like, of course. Yeah. But so initially, I was doing these stupid Bay Area jokes, like, "Isn't Oakland dangerous?" Because people go, "Yeah," and they click like and they share it, or like Berkeley's filled with idiots, and whatever, San Francisco or whatever. And then I just kind of went on like class rants.
Yeah.
Because being poor in the Bay Area sucks more dick than being poor anywhere else ever. I truly believe that. Because if you're poor anywhere else, you don't see rich people everywhere. They're not like in your face.
Right.
Like even in Vallejo, like you look across the water and there's Marin County. You know what I mean? So it's like you're surrounded by like money. Or I was actually watching this Tupac documentary. Tupac was in the projects in Marin City.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? He was just going on this, he was like on a balcony somewhere. And he's like, what the fuck? And he's like points and he just sees this mansion just like looking down on like the front. Like that's the thing. It's like, so I feel like it, and also it wouldn't bother me. I kind of like LA's classism because LA's classism is honest.
Yeah.
Like LA's like, fuck you, you're poor, haha.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. They'll walk over the floor instead of go across the
Bay Area is like, the Bay Area will be, it's like the same thing, but they've mastered like therapy speak.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, some guy will be like, I need help. And they won't help, but they'll be like, I validate you. And so like, I just started basically talking about that type of shit. And I think everyone understands everything's fake and everything's bullshit. And especially Silicon Valley, because like sorry, I'm going on this like random like stream.
Go ahead, bro. Hey, go ahead.
But so basically that's what I was doing on the page. And then Broke-ass Stuart, I started writing, more for the Bold Italic. And then that fell apart because my editor left and the new editor didn't like me. And there was the drama with Ev Williams not really wanting, he never directly told me he didn't want my shit out, but I could tell after that interaction it just became a lot harder to publish through them.
Got you.
So I started writing for Broke-ass Stuart,
who's Ev Williams.
Ev Williams is the original founder of Twitter. The original founder
Okay,
of
got
Twitter.
you. Yes,
he was the original,
yes,
and then he bought
say that.
Medium, and I don't know what he's doing now, but he like fancies himself as an artist. He like he's one of those rich guys who just can't just be a rich guy. He's also like, I'm an intellectual and an artist.
Right.
I am cultured. Like he's one of those, which is the worst rich guy.
I know
just be
about
a rich
everything.
guy.
Yeah.
Just if you're a rich guy, listen, if there's any rich guys watching, just be a piece of shit. Just be a piece of shit. Like throw your maid down the stairs. I don't want to hear you're a good person. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. Yeah. Like I would much rather you be a fucking demon than you tell me that you like went to Sudan for the summer. Like I really am sick of that shit. Like literally it's like the energy of like a girl from Berkeley like bringing a reusable bag acting like she freed Palestine. It's the worst shit in the fucking world.
Posing ass.
I know, it's just fake. That's the thing. It's like, or like in the Bay Area, it's like the Bay Area is like one of the most segregated and like fucked up places, truly. And I'm born and raised here, but it is. It's like, for example, East Oakland, kind of a mess.
Yeah.
You drive 3-4 miles up a hill, kind of looks like paradise.
Yeah.
But then you go up there and you have these signs like, we care about everybody. No, you don't.
Yeah. You only care about that area.
Exactly. They only care about themselves.
Also, what's up with the mayor, bro?
That's so funny.
That shit's crazy.
That's so funny.
And it
I like a criminal.
Yeah.
I like when the politicians are criminals. It's
what
fun.
did she do?
Everything.
Yeah.
She was actually behind the mass shooting. I was just kidding.
Whoa.
No, that'd be funny.
Crazy.
No. But she's probably just corrupt like most of them. And she probably, I think all the politicians, I'm probably going to get so canceled for everything I've ever said in this interview.
That's fine.
But I think all the politicians, at least the major city politicians in the Bay Area, especially at a certain level, are corrupt. It's just when you piss off the wrong person, you get thrown out of the club.
Yeah.
And I think Sheng Thao pissed off the wrong people and they threw her out of the club. They're like, oh, it was probably some campaign finance shit. She's probably, you know, doing some dirty money shit. Once again, I don't know, but I assume if the FBI's raiding her house.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Allegedly she's doing some dirty money shit. I think she should lean in.
Yeah.
I think like I made some dumb tweet about this, but I'm like, if the reporters like start asking her questions, she just looks at them and goes, fuck 12. Town business.
Oh my goodness.
Just drives off playing like Mr. Fab. Just lean into the reputation of Oakland fully.
Let's go, baby.
She's like, I've got a gun.
Yeah,
that's my statement.
I'm just thinking of the field day they're having with this in like Wyoming local news.
I know Fox News, yeah, is probably having a like fucker Tucker Carlson's probably so erect right now.
Yeah,
Is he still
yeah.
on Fox?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No, he left.
Oh, okay.
He's got his own show.
He's got his own show.
Yeah.
Okay.
He interviewed Vladimir Putin.
Yeah. I watched that.
Crazy.
It was terrible. It's the worst interview I've ever seen in my life.
Didn't press him at all.
Yeah, it was just like Vladimir Putin be like, let me tell you the lore of Russia.
Yeah, he's like, you're a little bitch.
And then he's like, you're a bitch. And then Tucker Carlson's like, yeah, you're right. And then he just like leaves.
Yeah.
But I watched all 3 hours of that because I was waiting for something of like value and I got nothing. But I did get the greatest video of all time of Tucker Carlson in a Russian grocery store.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No.
It was him in a Russian grocery store basically being like, everything here is cheaper. Isn't America a piece of shit? Like, that was basically him. He's like, wow. He's like holding up Snickers bars and stuff. He's like, obviously the embargo's not working. Here's McDonald's. He's like, America's fucking dumb. Like, and that's basically what it was. It was just him walking around a grocery store being like, the Russian economy's fine. It felt strange.
Yeah.
It like, you know how like everyone was saying Trump was working for the Russians? I don't know if that's true or not. It may have been. But Tucker Carlson really did feel like a Russian propagandist while walking around the grocery store.
Yeah, they definitely
crazy.
paid him some shit.
For sure. Because he was just like sucking Russia's dick.
Yeah.
And I don't think America's a good guy, but I don't think Russia's a good guy either.
No.
So it was very strange seeing Tucker Carlson just go around being like, hell yeah, Russia. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like he was just, and also the thing is like people get paid a lot less in Russia. So he's like, I bought a bazillion groceries for $100, and I'm like, well, that's
a good impression. I bought.
Yeah, well, actually, and then he does that like squint face thing. With his, like what's funny is he's like 50 something, and he has that like fucking elementary school your mom cut your hair thing, which is psychotic. I don't know why he does that, but God,
I'm just glad he doesn't have the same delivery as his Fox show.
Yeah,
like it's just like
you just squint like this all the time.
Yeah, and it'd be like and I'm like, oh fuck.
It was terrible, but yeah, back to the whatever the fuck. I just wanted to write, and then I used memes, and now I just talk shit and make TikTok videos.
How long did it take you to pop off? Like when was the curve?
It was kind of easier than I thought, which was weird. I think a lot of people are just filled with hatred, and if you tap into that
deep inside,
if you tap into that,
you can count on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you tap into that hatred, you're gonna get an audience. And the thing is like, especially if it's authentic, like what is real will prosper no matter if it's good or bad. If you're saying something bad, or if you're angry or you're loving from an authentic place, it will find something because it's truthful. Authenticity always prospers. And when I was making a lot of these early memes, I was actually upset. So people, I think, kind of resonated with that. And another thing I figured out how to do is boomers. Boomers are an untapped source of power on the internet that people do not understand. So, you know those little fucking Facebook groups? No one young's on these Facebook groups, but these boomers will share anything. These boomers will share anything.
They don't go fuck what.
They don't know what's going on.
They don't even read it.
Exactly. Yeah. If you just, like, also, it's like, if someone's like not paid attention to, if someone's kind of neglected, like, so how my strategy was, I'm going to talk about towns in the Bay Area that don't get talked about initially. So I was living in Vallejo. So I was making content about Vallejo. I was making content about like Rodeo, Crockett, Martinez, Richmond, Concord, Antioch. These are cities that don't really get talked about. Everyone talks about San Francisco. Everyone talks about Oakland. Everyone talks about Berkeley.
Yeah.
Whatever. They don't care. But these smaller suburbs that are kind of shithole suburbs that no one gives a fuck about, like broke suburbs, are so happy to be mentioned. Like literally, like dudes in Pittsburgh, if a rapper mentions Pittsburgh, everyone in Pittsburgh is ecstatic. Like, I swear to God, like Mr. Fab, like, Pittsburgh, I see you, and Pittsburgh's like, yes, and like they'll me, and they'll do a sideshow and they'll have a great time, and then they go back to whatever, they'll go back to their job in Concord at the mall. And that's what they do. That's what they do. So I understood that because I lived in Oakland until I was 12, and then I moved to Martinez, and I realized how like all these people are from the Bay Area and they care about the Bay Area, but the Bay Area does not care about them. Oakland, Berkeley, and San Francisco are incredibly transient. So most of the people here are just here because they're trying to make it somehow. They're here because their job brought them here. They're here for tech. They don't really have any, well, not everyone, but a lot of them don't have any real connection to the region. If you go to these smaller suburbs, if you go to Richmond, if you go to Vallejo, if you go to Concord, you go to any of these places, people are from here and actually give a shit. So if you talk to them, they will support you. Like I sold out a comedy show in Vallejo, like on some random bullshit, and E40 was so happy about it that he like promoted it just because it was Vallejo, because it's his hometown. People care. In San Francisco, no one gives a fuck about anything. So like what I realized is like basically I'm going to focus on towns that are kind of overlooked. Yeah. And I'm also going to post in every, on Facebook you have those groups like, like fucking, like Richmond yays or nays or stupid bullshit like that. Those little like community groups, they talk about shops they like or whatever. I just post my memes in there without asking permission basically. And people would think they're funny. And then they start posting them and then they end up on timelines. Like, and then obviously I would share it from Bay Area memes. So it would go viral that way. And it built on Facebook. And within 1 month, I had 1,000 followers. Within 3 months, I had 10,000 followers. And then once I hit 10,000 followers, I didn't really have to do anything. It just went from there. Like
just easy.
From 10,000 to 50,000 was the simplest shit in the world. I didn't do anything. But the first 1,000 was hardest. But once you hit 10K, it kind of just snowballs unless you piss off like the algorithm police and you say something they don't like. But it's pretty much that. I want to like give a course on trolling. You like, should. Don't attack people, attack ideas. They'll come to you. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I did. And especially if you actually feel something, if you say something you actually feel, you'll notice people are listening to you. Yeah. If when like, for example, when you're like on a date with a girl or something and you don't know what to say and the conversation falls flat because you're trying to like fuck her or whatever. So you're like, oh, I'm trying to get you to like me, but I don't know what to do. Like, and then
what do I ask you about?
Yeah, exactly. But like, if you're having a conversation from a real place, people do genuinely like respond to it and you build that connection. So if you feel something, no matter what it is, let it out because it will hit. And with the power of the internet, you can let it out to a ton of people and you can affect all those people. And it may affect them negatively. It may affect them positively, but as long as it affects them authentically, then you're getting somewhere.
Boom. Clip.
Yeah.
Right there, baby.
So yeah, that's that. I figured that out. I kind of naturally like, and the cool thing about the internet is it's the Democrat. I can't speak today. The democratization of sensationalism. So like basically before, sensationalism was only limited to like the elites in the news and the media of superpowers and things like that. Anyone can be a sensationalist now. Anyone can kind of be their own propagandist. And propaganda isn't good or bad. Propaganda is just presenting information in a way that highlights a certain point of view. That point of view could be good or bad. Everything's kind of propaganda at the end of the day. But if you do that and you do it passionately and you democratize that, anyone can have an audience. Which in one sense you could say it's the cheapening of celebrity, but at the same time it could allow you to find your people. It could allow you to find like people that really connect. Like you're a chef, right? Like you probably through the internet, through this platform, met other chefs and made connections with people. And you've probably had experiences that you may have thought maybe only you had, but then a ton of people have had these experiences and these struggles and these triumphs and stuff like that. And it's because like you're having an authentic experience and it's being projected through the internet and it's finding people. And that's the beauty of it. Yeah. The bad thing about the internet is like the bad thing about the internet is it's like, everything exists and is accessible.
Yeah.
And it should stay that way.
Yeah.
Because the people who are going to make things inaccessible probably don't have your best interests.
Got it.
So
how do you
sorry, that was a lot.
No. Hey, you answered the fucking question. I'll tell you that much. How do you deal with your DMs? Like, how many DMs do you get?
It depends.
Like,
it depends.
On a daily basis?
On average, between 50 and 60.
Right.
50 and 60 DMs a day, and they could be anything.
Right.
Like hate mail, like thirst traps. Hey, promote my album. Hey, I hate you. Hey, you're hot. Hey, you're not hot. Hey, you're fat. Like everything. Like I've gotten everything.
They let you have
everything. It's like you're a piece. It'll be like you're a piece of shit and I hope you die, or you're the sexiest man alive, or you're fat and you used to be attractive, which that's true. I did get fat.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are the worst when when they talking shit, you kind of agree with them. Like in 2021, you were looking a lot better. What happened? And I'm like, I don't know.
Like I was good at that
I was
time,
like, I got a fucking tech job, stayed in the house for a year, pandemic.
Exactly.
I'm 320 pounds now. Let me live. Or people like, the reason why you got your tumors because you got fat, your health is declining. I'm like,
Jesus
there's
Christ.
a chance that's true, but
like,
fuck.
take a cold plunge,
I know.
buddy.
It's like, Jesus fucking calm down, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, exactly.
Or but yeah, I get a fair amount of DMs, and most of it's trash.
Yeah.
Or a lot of it, you got a lot of local rappers being like, "Yo, I fuck with your page. Do you want to play my song?" And I'm like, "No."
You should be like, "Yo, I'll play your song," because what does it cost to post it? But just have them rap your name in
exactly.
their raps.
Well, the thing is some of the rappers are actually famous that are in my DMs.
Yeah.
Like fuck it. Like I've talked to G-Eazy.
Yeah.
I talked to like I Am Sue and all
That's
this.
dope.
I Am Sue's dope actually. Me and him kind of get along. But I talked to G-Eazy. I was actually hella funny. Like, I made some post and G's like, haha, that's hella funny. Then I'm like, haha, you should repost it. Then he just doesn't respond. I'm like, all right, Gerald.
Yeah.
That's the end of this conversation.
Until they have to repost. That's when they stop
exactly,
talking.
Yeah. When your career falls off, Gerald. No, I'm just playing. But he's doing very well. But yeah, no. But it's cool. But that's
is
a
that
lot
what
of
the
it.
G in G-Eazy stands for?
Yes, Gerald.
Gerald.
His real name is Gerald.
Gerald Easy.
I remember. Yes, that's what I assume. I assume that's what it stands for. It doesn't sound as cool if you say Gerald Easy. I think his last name's Gillum, but yeah.
Change his name, bro.
Gerald. My name is Gerald. If his rap name was Gerald Easy, that'd be so much funny. Yeah. What if his rap name was Gerald Easy and he's just as successful? Like that'd be psychotic.
I think it would be awesome.
I do too. I think
he should just change it now because he's already famous.
Exactly. I think there needs to be like a movement of rappers rapping hard shit with the wackest names.
Yeah, for sure.
Like imagine if Drake just went by Aubrey.
Yeah.
He was like Aubrey his whole life.
Did you get blown away into that beef?
Yes.
Did you have to talk
I was
about
super
it?
into it. I didn't talk about it, but I was watching it very closely.
What did you think?
Kendrick won. I don't think I think
where were you when the first song dropped?
where was I? I was in a line at McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly.
I really was.
I was at Dunkin'.
Seriously, I was in a line at McDonald's being a fat piece of shit, questioning my life choices, and I'm like, Drake just dropped. And then I'm like, okay. And then I'd like listen to like the drop and Give Me 50, him dissing Kendrick and saying he's getting extorted and all that. And I'm like, oh shit, Drake. Okay. And I kind of felt like Drake was going to win.
Yeah.
Because until Kendrick like murdered him, in my head, Drake was like impenetrable. Like he was invincible because he was so big.
Yeah.
He has been around forever. I've seen other rappers go after him and it not work. So I'm like, I think Drake's got Kendrick. And Kendrick's last album, while I loved it, it wasn't like a radio smash. Yeah. It was like about mental health and shit.
Right.
It was like half the half the album.
That can't be a radio smash.
Well, not when you're Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
Like one song is about like how he's like dealing with the trauma of his mother getting raped and shit. It's not like play that in the car. Where the hose at? Do you relate to this?
That on the kitchen playlist while you're cooking.
Exactly. Drake's just rapping about like dancing with girls and fucking them and whatever. Drake just raps about being Drake.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not even relatable anymore.
No, it's not.
He's like
none of the shit he does.
He's
is
like
relatable.
popping Molly on a private jet, and I'm like, I'm on the bus.
Yeah.
But this is fine.
You're like, I would do the private jet sober.
Exactly. Yeah. I need Molly now.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Right.
I need Molly on Bart. Make Bart.
He's doing poor drugs in rich places.
Exactly. Like there's a guy dying of a fentanyl overdose next to me on the train. I would rather be where you are, Drake.
Yeah. Who do you think won?
Oh, Kendrick won.
Okay, Kendrick won.
Kendrick literally had like Kendrick's fucking like the Not Like Us song.
Yeah.
Basically,
he played that shit 5 times at that concert he did.
The man has a radio song calling you a pedophile, and it's actually getting played,
and it's catchy,
and it's amazing, and the song's amazing. What I remember when I remember I was walking in downtown Oakland. It was one of the fucking bars. And I remember hearing Kendrick blaring, trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor, and then the whole crowd goes crazy. And it's like, bro, you have like girls twerking to like pedophilia allegations. Drake, you're done.
Yeah, he's done.
If girls are twerking to like people saying you're a pedophile, you're done. I actually don't even know if Drake's career can come back from this. I really don't. And I thought Drake was invincible.
Yeah.
But like, if the entire world thinks you're a pedophile, it was like a David and Goliath thing. Like I thought Kendrick was gonna lose, but and you know Drake didn't do badly. Like if you listen,
he didn't do bad. He didn't do bad.
He did better than I think a lot of people give him credit for. But Kendrick,
he got a whole city behind him.
Yeah, L.A.
Like notable people.
Yeah,
rival gangs.
Yeah,
fucking
he had
did it all, baby.
Dancing. Yeah, like it was like I don't even know if Drake can go back to California after this.
No,
or that line he said because he did the AI Tupac.
He better not.
Yeah, like seriously, the Oakland thing. He's like, I think the Oakland show gonna be your last stop with the Tupac AI. So also Kendrick's smart too because like the Bay and LA because LA gets more shine than the Bay in rap.
Yeah,
but that's natural because LA is the entertainment capital and the Bay Area is the tech capital, which is a horrible thing that I hope dies one day.
But you work in tech.
I do. And
I don't understand that.
And I know it's a problem.
What do you do?
I am in the wackest, dumbest part of tech. I'm just a sales guy. I literally spam call and spam email people to like take meetings with account executives.
You get a list?
Yes, and we prospect. We find our own list, and I'm good enough at it that I became team lead. So I not only am I doing it, but I teach other people how to do it. Because a lot of people aren't good on the phones.
Yeah,
a lot of people are nervous. I'm like, fuck that, keep going, and I basically coach people through it. Yeah. Like at my current job, like everyone knows me as like the cold call king because I'll make like 100 calls in a day. I'll book like 6 meetings, and that's like a big deal.
Yeah.
So
are you like the wolf of the Tenderloin?
Yeah, but I'm in Union Square.
Okay.
I'm in Union Square, like a nice office, sitting there just cold calling people. I'm like, hello, this is Abe with, I can't say the company's name.
Yeah.
But this is Abe with blah, 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 blah. And then they go, yeah. And I'm like, are you free at this time? And also you get really good at rebuttals and things like that. So like, that's what I do. So I'm not in any like coding. I make pretty good money for what I do though, because it's basically just like glorified telemarketing.
Yeah.
But you need to know like a few more technical terms and understanding the context of how it all works. But that's it. That's what I do. It's called being a sales development representative. Right now I'm a sales development representative team lead. Up from that's the account executive, which is like the closer of the deal.
Yeah.
If you're a good account executive, and not all account executives, but a lot of account executives are fucking dumb.
Yeah.
But if you're a good account executive, you can close up $500,000 in a year.
That's crazy.
By sitting on Zoom calls.
Yeah.
And it was even funnier when so it's also really funny too, because I was coming from like working at a call. Do you know Travis Credit Union? Mm-mm. Travis Credit Union is headquartered in Vacaville. I was back when I was living in Vallejo, but I was working at the call center over there. And before that, I was working at a warehouse in Richmond. And like the call center work is like you're on the phone 8 hours a day, and it sucks. You know, just calls coming in, you're basically like a bank teller over the phone, and you're doing online banking too. And then before that I was like stacking boxes, and you have like immigrant women holding 50-pound boxes not complaining, and then you'll see a guy who's like in tech who works 2 hours a day on Zoom calls bitch, and I just like want to strangle him, but I can't. Like I've seen literally women who have like immigrated from Mexico for a better life, not speak English, lifting 70 pounds, 8 hours, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Not complain,
problem.
not saying a fucking word. Then some guy like doesn't show up for me. He's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
And then they'll like lose their fucking mind. And they're sitting in like Beverly Hills or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
And like acting like their days ruined. Like I had a lunch I was supposed to attend and you ruined it. Like, they really act like that. They really act like that. And it's crazy. So coming from like a blue collar world and then kind of getting into this entry level tech has been very strange. Yeah. Also, it's weird because at my old company, it was called Prime Trust. So basically the CMO found out who I was, like the chief marketing. She was like your bear meme. Yeah, she knew who I was. She Googled me or something. And I think she said to my supervisor, she's like, are you aware that one of our lead SDRs is a viral communist agitator? Whoa, shit. Yeah, and they had Did you get HR'd for your page? Yeah, I got HR'd for my page. They had a whole meeting. And they were talking about whether or not they should keep me. And then basically it turned into like, don't say anything about the fucking company ever. I swear to fucking God. But just keep doing your thing, but just never mention us. But now the company's bankrupt, so it doesn't matter. Right. and it's Google Prime Trust. That's a wormhole.
Do they like it?
The people of my company, I'm not going to say the company I work at now, but the people of the company I work at now love me. They love what I'm doing. They have no problem with it. But at the other company, it was more of a corporate startup. It was a crypto startup too, so shady shit was happening. I don't want to say anything because I don't know if my NDA still counts.
Yeah.
But like Google Prime Trust, it's a wild ride. But that's the company I worked for. But yeah. And so yeah, no, I had like, I don't even know the fuck I'm talking about anymore. You know when you go like random like just like rambles.
It's all good. You got me at tech. Google Prime Trust.
Google Prime Trust. Yeah, that's the first company I worked for.
So what are you selling them?
So an SDR, it depends on the company you're at. What it is basically you call prospects, usually rich people who can afford the software you're selling. So at Prime Trust, I was selling crypto infrastructure. So it's like, say you're, you know how you have like apps on your phone, like Venmo or whatever. There's a back end infrastructure that makes the money transfer. We were selling the infrastructure to make the money transfer.
Got it.
And so basically, I would call people who are decision makers at these companies, like, hey, take a meeting, yada yada yada, and that was that. Now
on like LinkedIn,
on like you'd send them a message on LinkedIn. We like get their phone numbers, their personal phone numbers, their emails. Like I would hound people to death. I would send them like 20 emails in like a week, not like 20, like 6. And then I'd send them a message on LinkedIn. I get their personal cell phone number. I'd send them text messages, phone numbers, get their Telegram.
Yeah,
I'd go in. Now I'm in logistics software.
Yeah.
So I'm calling like mom and pop trucking companies. So it's a little bit of a different game. It's not as sophisticated. I had to come in with like a game plan at Prime Trust because we're talking like real tech guys.
Yeah.
So at Prime Trust, it was tech guys selling to tech guys. At the current company I'm at, it is tech guys selling to blue collar logistics guys, which is a lot chiller actually.
Right.
Because like a lot of these like trucking companies are like on pen and paper and shit like that. So if you go, our system has AI, they're immediately impressed. Like they're immediately impressed. Like a lot of our logistics in this country, like I learned this from working at my company, is on really fallible shit. Like a lot of it's on like, or if they are on software, it's like antiquated software from like 2003, or like they have to run it through like Windows XP.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Like
especially in corporate. I wonder if I actually go through that. Am going through that a little bit myself. I think that there was some fucking backwards napkins deals, like deals on napkins done in like the 80s or 90s, and they're like, we'll never stop using your software. It'll never go out of date, and now it's out of date. People are like,
what the fuck are we doing? Exactly.
Because I bought a car in 2017. I bought a car, and they printed out all the paperwork on this big ass printer, and I'm like, the fuck? Like, just email me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, DocuSign. Like literally, it's but it's true though. It's crazy how much of like America's like major important companies are on software from 20 years ago. The software from some of the trucking companies is so bad that the code is so old that current software engineers can't even work on it because they don't understand the language because the language is so antiquated. So like you have companies, not going to name any names, that one of our competitors that we're eating alive, but they literally can't find software engineers to update their code because they can't read the language.
Right.
So in order for them to update, they literally have to rebuild it from the ground up, which cost tens of millions of dollars.
Isn't there a way to just drop a little AI thing in there and let it?
Yeah, I don't know. Because AI is good, but is it that good? Because like I think AI, there's legitimate potential, but I think also one thing I've also learned about tech is founders are liars. They will go up to VCs, like venture capitalists, who are the people who like give the initial seed funding for these companies.
Yeah,
and they'll look them right in the face and just sell them a dream. That's why most startups fail. Like a founder will come in there and they'll know how to do a pitch deck and they'll understand the language and they'll know what to say. And they will just look at people with a lot of money and just lie to them. And depending on how egregious the lie is depending on whether or not you get sued.
Right.
So basically, if the lie
FTX.
is exactly, which is what fucked Prime Trust actually.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I was actually close to that, which was crazy.
Full circle.
Yeah. I don't want to. I have an NDA, so
that's fine. That's fine.
There's some things.
That's fine.
But yeah. But Google Prime Trust. Google, ladies and gentlemen, Google Prime Trust. But
Sucio was murdered.
No, honestly, bro, like I'm pretty sure like the old CEOs are gonna get murdered. That's the real problem. But there was stuff with that. But like what happens? What I realized about tech too is like there's so much money, and that's what makes me so mad about the inequality in the Bay Area. There's so much money here.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize how much money is here when I say there's so much money. When people say there's so much money, they go, oh, there's $1 billion. No. The market cap between San Francisco and Silicon Valley is actually the greatest concentration of wealth in human history, with a $9 trillion market cap. So the money between the tech industry and the startups and all that, going basically from like Cupertino up to San Francisco, up the peninsula, is $9 trillion of money in that region. Don't even count the East Bay, don't count the North Bay, just San Francisco, just basically the 415, the 650, and the 408. Yeah. Those 3 area codes have companies combined, and that's just in the tech sector, worth $9 trillion. $9 trillion is an unfathomable amount of money. And that's what's here. So when I hear about all these like people, you know, like fucking Mark Benioff, like I'm such a philanthropist. It's like we are in an industry. There's an industry that made the Bay Area its home, which hasn't really benefited the Bay Area at all. Yeah. Worth $9 trillion, and we have the social issues we have. Like it's fucking, it's like literally evil. Like, so that's where a lot of like the stuff comes from. But like I learned about this because, so the venture capitalists are guys who work for VC firms, and their whole job is to find companies to invest in. Yeah. 90% of these companies are going to fail. So they're literally throwing money into holes that they're never going to get back. That's the fucked up part. So say there's 10 companies and they invest in these 10 companies. 9 of them statistically will not survive. Yeah. So they will be money wasted. And this isn't just bullshit money they're throwing. They're throwing tens of millions, if not in some cases, hundreds of millions of dollars into these companies for them to not return a single percent. One of these companies will be successful, and then basically the means justifies the ends. But I know that, and I know that these guys lose money all the time. And I know that a lot of the companies that are getting the VC funding are just lying, essentially, in a very professional way, about the capabilities of their companies. And knowing that if you just know the language of money, you can get a lot of it to essentially fuck around and fail, when so many people in San Francisco, so many people in Oakland, so many people in just America in general, we can take it wider than the Bay Area, are dying. It's crazy. Like Flint, Michigan doesn't have clean water. And there's companies in Silicon Valley that are getting $50 million in seed funding that are going to be gone next year, guaranteed. So it's like, it's all fake. And that's why the altruism's fake, because everyone in that world knows what's happening. It's like a masquerade that no one wants to admit they're attending. That's what it is. And there's also like philanthropy. There's a lot of like, it's like part of the rich guy thing to do. Yeah. Like you go to the party for the cause, like everyone. You
get your name on the hospital.
Exactly. You get your name on the hospital, and you're like, I'm a good guy.
That's just crazy, bro. I don't want my obituary to say David died at
Zuckerberg Hospital, or man, like fucking Benioff Children's Hospital in Oakland. It's, that's the Salesforce guy. Yeah.
While on Facebook. While driving.
Exactly.
A Tesla.
Exactly. They own everything.
They own literally.
Like Apple's, or also just the fact they don't pump really any tax money into California. Like their workers pay taxes. Yeah. All these companies are incorporated in Delaware because of the tax laws in Delaware. So the Bay Area doesn't get any of the money that these companies make. The tax revenue that the tech companies bring to the Bay Area is through their workers, who are then taxed at an effective tax rate. But these companies, like Apple's $1 trillion company by itself. The Bay Area's not getting any of that. All that money goes to, on paper, they're headquartered in Delaware, despite their giant fucking disc thing in Cupertino. Yeah. So that's kind of why I'm like filled with anger all the time. I have somewhat of an understanding how all this shit works, and it's all fake.
Do you read up on this, or is it just experience, or where do you get your news?
I read up on it because so basically I've lived in the Bay Area my whole life. I was born in Walnut Creek, lived in Oakland till I was 12, moved to Martinez, moved to Vallejo, lived in a couple other towns like Daly City, Concord, shit like that. And I saw the Great Recession happen. I'm 32 years old. I was coming of age during the Great Recession when I saw everyone lose everything almost overnight. Okay. And I saw Vallejo go bankrupt. I mean, it went from you could go to Vallejo and do anything you wanted, which was cool at the time. I was a kid. I was like, let's go to Vallejo, have a bonfire, shoot a gun in the air. Let's go. No one's going to do anything. But I also saw friends' business, like my friends' parents had businesses and stuff, they were general contractors, or maybe they owned a pizzeria, some shit like that, and all the money was gone, and they were and their houses got taken and their businesses got taken, and I saw this reshuffling of wealth from the bottom to the top that I had never seen before, and I saw neighborhoods that used to be decent turn into meth dens overnight. And I saw Vallejo, which was like a blue collar town, but I wouldn't call it like a horrible city, go from like a blue collar town to a horrible city overnight. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, the cops are the biggest gang members.
Yeah, also, Vallejo has the worst cops ever.
Yeah.
Like they literally had this is how corrupt America is, and this is how corrupt the Bay Area is. We know for a fact that there was a murder cult within the Vallejo Police Department. This is mainstream
that's the
news.
Zodiac.
No, not even the Zodiac killer. The cops would shoot people, and then they'd like throw barbecues and bend their badges for each person they killed. And we know that.
Oh.
Swear to God. In Vallejo, California, 30 miles from San Francisco, 10 miles from Napa.
Damn.
And we know it, and no one got in trouble.
Right.
And we know that. Like, Vice did a fucking documentary on it. Everyone knows, no one cares.
I found a YouTube video back in the day. It's a weird and creepy one. It's this old dude just in his living room saying how the Vallejo police it was the Zodiac, was them.
Dude,
it was like a group of them doing all that.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Vallejo's fucked. Vallejo, I described Vallejo, I'm like, Vallejo is like a Spike Lee movie directed by David Lynch. That's kind of the energy. Take like Twin Peaks and Do the Right Thing.
Yeah.
And put those together, and that's essentially Vallejo. It's a wild town. And, but then at the same time, so I saw basically all this wealth leave the Bay Area. Everyone, I was in Section 8 housing, so it didn't matter to me. I was like, well, I'm in government housing. You guys are all fucked. You shouldn't have believed in the system, haha. But I'm like trying to flex because I'm broke. But I was unaffected. But, I saw that happen. I saw basically everyone become, or not everyone, but a lot of my friends become poor overnight.
Yeah.
Because of the Great Recession. And then 2012 hits. And then tech slowly starts seeping its way out of the South Bay, out of Silicon Valley, into San Francisco, into Oakland, into these places. And I saw neighborhoods, and my mom's from the Mission, because I know how cheap the Mission used to be. The Mission used to be like hella cheap.
Yeah.
And it wasn't this trendy neighborhood. The Mission was like radical punks, like radical, like, you know how like San Francisco has like the friendly queers? You had like queers in the Mission who wanted to like kill the cops. Like that was like the Mission district back then. You had like weird writers. You had all this, you had like Chicano gangbangers, you had like small businesses, and it was, that's what it was. And then I just saw like a bunch of like Mark Zuckerbergs take over. And then honestly, I wouldn't care if people just moved in there. That's fine. Whatever, people can live wherever they want. That doesn't bother me. But I saw like rents go from like $800, $900 for an apartment to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 within like 2 years. Like, what the fuck? And then you had this reshuffling, and then like, luckily my mom was on Section 8, so she didn't have to move, but I saw like friends have to leave the Bay Area, have to leave the state, people going to Antioch, which was like or Vallejo. That was like the last parts of the Bay Area people could afford. So you had all these people who lived in like San Francisco or Oakland going to Vallejo, going to Antioch or Pittsburgh, like being 30 to 50 miles from their job. And that's if they stayed in the Bay. Yeah. You had people going to Oregon, Arizona, Texas, whatever the fuck. And it was just like, why is
so much damn traffic? People
exactly, yeah. Antioch. You have super commuters. There's people who work in San Francisco and live in Sacramento.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's it's fucking nuts, but that's a thing. Like, I think we're the capital of super. I was reading this article. I think
who does that?
A lot of people.
Who signs up for that?
People. Okay, so basically, like, and here's another thing too. It's like, sorry, I go on a lot of rants. I apologize.
That's fine.
Like, okay, so one thing the pandemic taught us, the whole like essential worker thing. We don't need any of these tech guys really, and they're the highest paying jobs and stuff. Like, no one needs me to be spam calling them and emailing them. Like, society will function if I don't cold call you. It'll be fine. But we need people working at the grocery stores. We need people working on cars. We need people doing normal shit, like, whatever, like the trash man or whatever the fuck, like the plumber. These are real jobs. And those people, warehouse workers, to make like the supply chain basically essentially work, truck drivers, those are the people who make the economy go, and they're paid the worst, and they live the furthest away because they can't afford to compete with Mr. Google, Mr. Startup Guy, Mr. whatever the fuck. So you have people who are literally like the life's blood of these places, the life's blood of San Francisco, the life's blood of Oakland, and they live in Sacramento, and they drive 90 miles one way to work. Or they live in Stockton, God forbid. They live in Stockton, or they live in Modesto or Tracy, or, they rent rooms in really cramped conditions here. Like, they'll be like in East Oakland, and they'll be living in a warehouse, or there'll be some shit like that. So even if they're close to their job, their quality of life is fucked, even though it's a shorter commute. So it's just like, it made me upset. And I know there's enough money to pay these people because I know how much money's in the Bay Area. There's $9 trillion in circulation in the Bay Area, more than even Wall Street.
Yeah.
New York's broker than us because of Silicon Valley. And we have enough money to do this, and we just don't. So that's where I don't even know what the fucking question to make.
You think San Francisco's gearing up for something?
San Francisco.
I think there's jets under this motherfucker, and we're going to fucking take off and go to Mars.
I think San Francisco is gearing up for something. I don't know if it's going to Mars, but I think if you look at New York City during the Giuliani years, I think San Francisco is going through the beginning of a major shift to the right, going from a left-wing city to a right-wing city. So if you look at like New York City went through this in the 90s, where basically crime got bad. And then they used sensationalist news stories about crime getting bad, crime on the subways, this, that, or whatever, to essentially try to justify police mistreatment. So they brought the stop and frisk thing.
Oh, fuck that shit, man.
Exactly. And that was a thing in New York City where basically they were just grabbing mostly black and brown men, throwing them up against the fucking wall. And, you know.
I lived in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah. And they were kind of doing that in the whole area.
Yeah.
And San Francisco is doing the same thing, but the Bay Area, the Bay Area is the fakest place on earth. So they're not going to do it with some old white Italian guy like Giuliani. They're going to do it with like a woman of color. Right. They're going to do it with a London breed. They're going to do it with a Brooke Jenkins. That's how they do it here in the Bay Area. Like if like a white guy was like, "Hey, listen, we're bringing the cops back," everyone's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" But if you have like a black woman and go, "Hey, we're bringing the cops back," everyone's like.
Yeah.
So that's
police.
How, exactly. Yeah, like, woo, we love them. Like San Francisco is the type of place in 50 years they're like, okay, we're gonna execute all the homeless, but the police, all the executioners will be trans. And everyone's like,
yeah,
we're gonna put a ribbon on a fence for each one.
Well, that's what it seems like. It seems like after a while, and I'm talking about thousands of years, the oppressed become the oppressors. You know.
Yeah, that's
whoever has the power is going to do it.
Exactly. America's. So I think racism is built upon a foundation of classism. You can't have racism without classism. You can't have any of that stuff without a foundation of classism.
Right.
And so if you keep the classism intact, you can elevate. Like Cornel West said this. You can put like black faces in high places, but it won't change the fundamental system. And whoever's poor, no matter what color, will be treated poorly. And white people have been tricked more than anybody. Like, honestly, poor whites are like the dumbest demographic in America. Like, no, literally, poor white people are so fucking annoying. They're so stupid because literally poor white people are the majority of America, truly. Yeah. And they don't realize that they have more in common with like the urban slums than they do with like Donald Trump. Yeah. And that's what's fucking America over. And the Democrats use this too. So basically, and it's actually brilliant. American propaganda is chef's kiss. Right. We're amazing at it. We're the best. Like, we really are. If you watch the news, it's even like if you watch even the national media, for example, they'll feed both sides fear all the time. So if you watch like liberal news, it'll be like, today in the news, a white guy was racist as fuck. Oh my God, what's his problem?
Everybody's like, fuck that guy.
And they're like, fuck that white piece of shit. And then the right-wing news will be like, have you heard about Chicago? Another 50 bazillion murders. Do you want them in your neighborhood? and that's pretty good. Exactly. That's literally what it is. It'll be like, a young black male did something, and then you'll go to like the left-wing media, a white man said something rude. And then they just get people fighting forever. And most of the people who are at these media companies aren't fighting. They don't give a fuck. Donald Trump and Joe Biden don't have beef.
No,
Barack Obama doesn't have beef. No, they don't give a fuck.
I wish they did.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah. Like, could you imagine like Joe Biden just pull out a gun on Trump? Like, let me tell you something, you orange piece of shit. Yeah. But that's really not. They're going to cocktail parties.
Why does Joe Biden sound like Snake?
He sounds like I know, right? He's like Metal Gear Solid. Hey, Jack.
Hey.
Yeah, hey. Oh yeah. Hey.
Huh?
Like Metal Gear Solid.
That sounds
so funny. But it's not like that. They're being funded by a lot of the same companies. They're going to a lot of the same cocktail parties. And it was the craziest thing was in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
Portland, Oregon is the wildest place in the world because everyone's white. And you really see it there because it's like they're both bought into this ideology. I saw a riot in Portland, Oregon, and it was all white people, and you had like fascists versus communists, and it was the silliest thing I've ever seen in my life. You had fascists dressed like Captain America fighting like communists dressed like ninjas in the street in Portland, Oregon. And it's just and that's like the extremes of both sides of media bias manifest. and neither side really knows what they're fighting for. They just don't want to be wrong. So basically you have one side of, you have like one group of white people who are like, I'm scared because I think we're going to get replaced by minorities, which is retarded.
Yeah.
And then you have another side of white people who are like, I don't want to be racist, but they don't have any black friends because they're in Portland because there's no black people to be friends with.
I don't want to be racist.
I don't want to be racist, so I'm going to assault this random guy who's just as broke and dumb as I am. And then there's the other guy. It's like, Trump said they're not bringing their best.
Yeah.
And so they're fighting in the street, and it's all dumb when they should be working together and killing rich people. I'm kidding, but that's what they should probably be doing if they want to change things. They need to stop with the race fighting. Like, no, the race war is not going to win. Class war is the answer. Everyone's in the same boat. But the thing is that the rich people are really smart.
Yeah.
So they gave poor white people, because poor white people were the majority, they gave them slightly more privileges so they don't see themselves as the same as like the poor minorities, which was brilliant. Because it made them aspire to think like, if I just work hard enough, I'll be the guy who runs the thing. And they never are. Yeah. They never are. So you have like these two sides fighting. And also when things get shittier for the poor white people, the rich white people, or rich people, no matter what color they are now, will just blame the poor group on the other end. So it's like if shit starts sucking more for like poor white people, they're like, oh, Mexicans are coming in. Yeah. You know how it is. Or if like crime or if like drugs come into your neighborhood, they're like, oh, you know, black people are moving into your neighborhood selling drugs. So they'll just blame other poor people and have them fighting amongst each other. Or like, oh, you know, the reason why like America didn't give reparations is because racist poor white people don't want them to give reparations. They don't have a choice. No one in America has a choice to fucking anything. Right.
Well, they brought back the draft.
Exactly.
You see that?
Yeah, no, they're talking about bringing back because they were trying to fight Russia.
Well, we don't have enough. There's nobody's enlisting anymore. Yeah. Like they used to.
Because everyone's fat.
Right. Yeah, we're all fat.
Everyone's too fucking fat to fight. It's true.
Yeah.
I'm fat.
Like we got everything we need. You know
yeah, exactly.
I mean? We don't think we have to fight for stuff. Back in the day, you were like hungry.
Exactly.
And they were like, come fight. We'll give you water.
Also, exactly. Seriously, yeah. It was basically like fucking, you know, it was wild. But yeah, like you had basically people who had nothing. And that's one of the, honestly, the big conspiracy theorists had on. I think that's the reason why red states are trying to get rid of abortion, because they need poor, dumb white people to believe in America and sign up to fight and die for, like, you know, corporations. Yeah. That's true. The hoods kind of caught on. Poor white people haven't caught on yet. So if you go to like East Oakland and some army guy comes in, like everyone's gonna be like, fuck you. But if you go to like some rural piece of shit school in like West Virginia, like, I love my country. So they need more of those. Those guys can't be aborted. They need them to fight and die somewhere else. Yeah. You know, and if they survive, they eat at Cracker Barrel and die of a heart attack. That's how it works. And that's America.
I wouldn't mind dying at a Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel's perfectly fine.
Better than the Zuckerberg.
Yeah, but better than Zuckerberg General.
Yeah, for sure.
Better than Zuckerberg General. I don't think you know what sucks about the Bay? There's not many white trash restaurants. Yeah. There's not a lot of Cracker Barrels. I did an article for Broke Ass Stuart where I went to a Hooters. Yeah. In Sonoma County, and I had to drive like 50 miles to get to a Hooters.
Do you think that's a cuisine that's going to be acceptable soon?
Hooters?
White trash.
A white trash cuisine? Like, it's not acceptable now. It's an abomination
like
now.
Green bean casserole. Dude, that's
deconstructed.
Yeah.
Putting raisins on things.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it was ever acceptable. I just think no one said anything.
Right.
Like no one wanted to be rude. Like honestly, white cuisine is just a culture of the person eating it not being rude.
Right.
That's really what it is.
That's all they have.
That's all they have. Like, yeah, yams. Let's do that. Yeah. Canned yams? Let's go. I'm starving. I would love ketchup on my macaroni and cheese. Let's go.
Oh.
Let's cut hot dogs and put... I used to eat that shit, though. So,
yeah, I used to eat hot dogs and potatoes.
Exactly.
Great meal.
Amazing. But horrible for you.
Puerto Rican boiled dinner is what I called it.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, the white trash version of that is basically not even Kraft, like generic macaroni and cheese with like hot dogs cut in it. Yeah. And then you use like the butter and like the little fucking packet, and then you put ketchup in that shit. And people would eat it, and it's disgusting. It really is. It's disgusting, but you're kind of into it.
Hey, ketchup and rice, and eggs. That's a good one.
And they even kind of gentrified that a little bit.
Yeah, they did.
Like there's this restaurant.
The chicken sandwich is just like being a little whore right now. Yeah. Every chef is opening.
Exactly. Or like they put like hot Cheetos in like macaroni and cheese. I forgot what place in Oakland did that. And I'm like this. Yeah. I'm like, you know what this is, right? This is some white trash shit you're overcharging hipsters for.
And Taco Bell went for it too.
Yeah, I know. Well, when Taco Bell does it, I'm okay with it. Because that's kind of their thing.
They got Cheez-Its in it now.
That's kind of
crunch wrap.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah. I didn't know, but I'm going to Taco Bell right now.
Yeah, you should.
I'm going right now.
The crunch wrap.
That sound. A Cheez-It in a crunch wrap sounds genius.
Yeah, I mean it is.
That's like I don't even think like a CEO came up with that. I think some guy who was high came up with that. And the CEO saw him. He's like, "Hey,
dude, Taco Bell has figured out they need to market their stoner employees.
Exactly,
and they've done it.
Dude. It is everything tastes the same.
It's like a PlayStation fucking cathedral.
It really is.
Off their new tacos on. It's crazy.
It really. That's the thing. Taco Bell knows their audience, and they know there's nothing to change. So they basically Taco Bell's kind of like Italian food.
Yeah.
It's just they keep Italian food's just reshaping noodles at a certain point. It's just like we have a new drop, and it's like just a different shaped noodle. It's like tortellini, boom.
Yeah.
Taco Bell's the same thing. It's the same like fake beef slop shaped differently.
Right.
But it's a new thing and everyone's hyped for it because it's delicious. Italian, and this isn't shaded. I'm part Italian. Shout out to Italians, but like it tastes great, so they don't have to do much. So instead of but it gets boring if it always looks the same.
Yeah.
So they just reshape it.
Sometimes I'm getting pissed off at Italians. They'll be like, "Just tomatoes is in it." It's like the best dish you ever had, and they're like, "Just tomatoes."
Yeah, they're lying. They have like some shit. They put some like olive oil, balsamic, a little bit of salt. They'll do their thing.
A little sugar.
Yeah, but they'll throw some brown sugar on there.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing. They know
some
what they're
soy
doing.
sauce, chef. Wow.
Yeah. No, Italians just
Ketchup?
the internet.
Honestly,
if Italians are using ketchup, that's a problem.
I always put a little dab of ketchup in my red sauce.
Really?
Like a
little tiny bit for that salty, tangy thing.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Key bump size.
Don't tell anyone though.
No,
because if you tell them it's ketchup, they'll act like they don't like it.
I told them no. They're gonna be like, one asshole's gonna be like, "This tastes like ketchup."
Yeah, it's like fuck you.
Yeah,
you didn't know. That people love to be pretentious though. I've realized that. Like, I did this thing at a house party a long time ago, where this isn't even recent, but everyone was like, this was back during like the hyphy era, and like all the Bay Area kids were like, we only drink Grey Goose and privileged Hennessy because Mac Dre said it, So what I did was I stole like 3 bottles of Grey Goose and I drank that, and then I bought Taka vodka, which is I steal the Grey Goose, buy the Taka. And then I just put the Taka vodka in the Grey Goose bottles. And I'm like, bro, we've got Grey Goose. And everyone's hyped. And no one said a word. So no one knows what they're talking about. People just want to feel like they're rich and feel like they're cultured.
Except for now. Everyone at that party.
Oh, yeah. They had horrible hangovers. They had horrible hangovers. But when they're drinking it, they don't know.
He did it again.
Bay Area memes did it again.
Stolik Naya.
But yeah.
Can I have Stolik Nayas and the empty Grey Goose bottle?
The only thing I hate about... when you're drunk and you want to break a bottle?
Yeah.
The only thing I hate about cheap alcohol...
I actually don't know about that. I don't know.
Don't?
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Is that like what you...
I don't drink anymore, but when
that's
I was like
the poor
21,
white people shit right
It really is. It really is. But like sometimes when I'm drunk and I have like a bottle of something, I just want to smash the bottle and hear it shatter. What sucks about poor booze is the bottles are plastic.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm gonna break this bottle, and it just bounces.
Yeah,
it sucks so bad. There's no power behind it.
Yeah, you need to leave a little beer in.
Yeah, you need to have something break to feel cool while you're drunk. If the bottle bounces off the ground and makes that hollow plastic boom, you don't feel cool.
My thing is I go to sleep when I'm drinking.
Yeah, I don't drink anymore, honestly, that much, because it's like I'm 32 now, and it's just not that fun. Like everyone's like, let's go to the bar, and I have nothing against bars, but like when people are way too into bars, I get confused. I'm like, it's just a room that you're drinking with.
I think it's the lighting for me.
The lighting could be cool in the day. And there are bars I like Vesuvio in San Francisco is fucking cool. Zeitgeist has a great patio. Hearts and Daggers in Oakland has a great patio. But most bars are just rooms filled with people who can't afford therapists.
Right.
That's all it really is. It's a bunch of like sad people, especially if you go there during the week.
Right.
If on Friday, Saturday, you have like young girls like, yeah, woo, they don't know what they're doing. They're just listening to music, pretending they're having fun. No one's having fun. Sometimes you're having fun.
Get drunk under the Edison lights.
Exactly, yeah. But if you go there on a Wednesday, go to a bar on a Wednesday. It is an abomination.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So, and you kind of, and at that point, when you're at a bar on a Wednesday, you kind of see them for what they are.
Yeah.
It's like these are places for people who either can't go home or really don't want to go home for various reasons.
Right.
And that's all it is. And then people romanticize them. Like I like Anthony Bourdain, but there's a part of me that thinks, and I know chefs love Anthony Bourdain, but there's a part of me when I looked at Anthony Bourdain, I'm like, this is a rich guy romanticizing poor people shit because he's not poor and gets to go home.
Right.
So like, and I think he's funny, and I think a lot of his quips and his writing was good. I read some of his writing. He's a very good writer. But I remember watching him at a Waffle House, and being like, this is like, he was just so happy about being in a Waffle House in the South.
Yeah.
And it's the type of place where like the waitress is 16 and pregnant. People are smoking inside. People are like,
have you ever been to Waffle House?
I've never, but I've,
Dude, it's
but
so fucking good.
I'm sure it is. But I've been to, I've never been to a Waffle House because I'm from California, but like I've been to like shitty diners like Denny's late at night.
Yeah,
it's kind of a similar energy.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing truly romantic about it if that's your life. Anthony Bourdain gets to be a tourist in poor cuisine and goes, wow, aren't I living? And then he goes back to Manhattan and fucks off. But if you're there every day, it's not cute.
No.
And that's the same thing with a lot of bars. Like people romanticize bar culture. Like I used to, and you know, I'm a big fan of Charles Bukowski and I like a lot of his poetry. The thing I hate most about it is how much he romanticized bars. You're drinking in a room. You could drink in any room. Who cares? Like I remember like one time he went to this bar, he was like talking about this bar in Philadelphia and it was like a bar fight and a guy got into a bar fight and he made it sound really magic and glorious. And it's just two drunk guys fighting at a bar. Like, but the thing is like, you're like an impressionable person. You'll read that and you'll aspire to that and you'll think there's a meaning in being a degenerate piece of shit. And a lot of my family were degenerate pieces of shit. They're not poets. They're just dumb.
Right.
Like, so that's the thing. Like, it's I think the reason why I'm so critical of a lot of this hipster shit, because a lot of it's like upper middle class and rich kids essentially like
playing
fetishize it. Yeah, they're fetishizing poverty. And it's like, if you actually grew up poor, whether I don't give a fuck if you're white, black, or anything in between, if you're actually poor, you know how much it sucks. And just and the thing is like a lot of rich kids' life lack meaning or consequence, so they need to feel something. And that aesthetic is the only way for them to feel something. And I get a little bit of that from Anthony Bourdain. Just a little bit.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain.
This piece of shit right
this
here.
Piece of shit. I'm like the guy who committed suicide didn't have any meaning in his life. Crazy. Anyway.
It was just his anniversary too.
Shout out to him. I like the show.
There's a lot of crazy things that have happened in the last few weeks. Like just, you know, a lot of anniversaries, fucking the mayor shit this morning.
I like the mayor thing. That's so fun. It makes me like her. I'm going to vote for her.
Yeah.
I didn't vote last time in the Oakland elections. I'm voting for Sheng Thao now.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is what's going to happen. She's going to go to jail for 5 years, and then
she's fun.
Get a podcast.
I would vote for Hunter Biden.
There you go.
I think this is how this.
I mean, we've never had a crackhead president. We might as well
like
try.
Him so much more.
Right. That he's real. He's real.
He's real.
He's got problems.
He's got real problems. He's
not like
faking.
Barack Obama. You're
exactly.
like, what is your bad habit?
Yeah,
People are like, he smokes cigarettes.
He's smoking a Newport. like, shut up. But like that's basically it. But like I want Hunter Biden's a real American.
Yeah.
Most people I know do drugs and fuck up. That's going to be the new thing. I think in 20 years, America's going to get sick of like the squeaky clean politician and they're just going to start voting for problematic demons. And I think Trump's the beginning of that because he's like a fake problem. He's like a really rich guy, but he's pretending to be like a working class blue collar guy. Like, I tell it how it is. But pretty soon, you're just going to have a bunch of Hunter Bidens like doing crack in the Oval Office and being like, so what? So what? Fuck you, China.
Do you watch the news?
Sometimes, yeah. I try not to.
What do you watch?
I watch kind of everything, actually.
Do you watch Breaking Points?
I do. I actually do. My ex-girlfriend showed me Breaking Points.
I like that.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's good. You have, you know, I used to watch Democracy Now!, but it got too kooky aunt vibe. It got too like Berkeley pamphlet-y energy. Enough.
Sure. Yeah, science teacher.
Exactly.
Dress.
Yeah, it's like I don't need to see another Jill Stein interview. I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know. Sure. But like I don't know. I watch like Tim Dillon a lot. I don't know if you know Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
I love Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
So like, but I I watch CNN, I watch MSNBC, I watch Fox News. I want to see what they're all talking about, and most of it's just bullshit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you know, Fox News's only real utility, it's only there to make your grandparents more racist, and MSNBC is only there to create racial tension in major cities. That's really all it is. Like, no one wants to say that. And obviously they report on the news and stuff like that, but they report on select news. They don't report on anything important. Like, you'll never see, like, CNN being like, we don't care about the Ukraine. We're actually conducting a proxy war because we want to weaken Russian military. That's the truth. You know, we don't, you're never going to see, like, Fox News be like, we don't actually give a fuck about Jews. We just want the Middle East to be destabilized. And Israel is a destabilizing force in the Middle East. They're never going to say, that's the truth. But they're never going to say that. So,
you can say it here on Sucio
Yeah, you can say it Sucio Talked.
anytime you want.
I'm being Barry memes in real life right now.
It's all good.
But that's kind of how I see it. And, that's so I look at it and I go, but one thing I do notice about the media that makes me actually really nervous right now is like, they're kind of preparing us for World War III.
Yeah, they are for sure.
You have the China-Taiwan, the China-Taiwan thing.
Yeah. This feels like 2000.
Yeah, it feels like they're getting us ready for something. Yeah. Also, it's like there's this old saying. It's like when Russia, when Europe sneezes, the whole world catches a cold. Mm-hmm. About like basically conflicts in Europe spreading everywhere. Well, right now, Eastern Europe is in a major hot war between Russia and the Ukraine. That's a problem. You have the Middle East thing. You have essentially a genocide going on with Israel, slaughtering Palestinians without any accountability, which is disgusting. And you have the progressive Democrats funding it, like Joe Biden. Progressive. That's another thing, too. Also, it's like society really starts to break down, I think, when people lose all faith in their institutions. And I think the Democrats are most at risk of this. Because the Democrats put themselves in this position where we're the party of minorities. We care about black and brown people, all that type of stuff. While simultaneously, Joe Biden is essentially the primary financier of a genocide of brown people, and that's the truth. Like he could cut off funding if he wanted to, but he's not.
Why does he fund these things?
Well, it's about American empire. It's not about like that's. I'm part Jewish. I'm sick of all the Jewish conspiracies. The Jews are running. They're not. But
you're not running shit.
I know exactly. Yeah, exactly. The Jews aren't running shit. I run Bay Area memes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but like that's this whole thing with the Jews. That's not true. America. So basically, America. When it comes to the Israel thing, the Middle East is the home of a lot of natural resources, primarily oil, but also there's a lot of trade routes that go through the Middle East. You have the Mediterranean right there, the Mediterranean is the most important part of the world because you have Western Asia, Northern Africa, and Southern Europe all meeting right there. It's why the Roman Empire was so successful. It's why the Egyptians were so successful. It's like if you control that part of the world, there's a lot of things going on there. So for America to honestly, Israel is essentially just a glorified U.S. military base with a lot of Jews. It's basically just a glorified Jewish military base for the American empire. And then they kind of weaponize Jewish trauma to make people accept it. Because like when the Holocaust happened, do you know America, 1 million Jewish refugees tried to get into America and America turned them down. But America apparently cares about Jews. But they turned down all these refugees after the Holocaust, and they pushed them to Palestine. Why'd they push them to Palestine? Because it's a disruptive force in a region that has a lot of oil, and America would love to exploit that. And also, if you look at like the enemies that America goes after, they're usually the exact same enemies that Israel goes after. And it's not because Israel is controlling the United States. It's because, also, like Joe Biden actually said it. He was like, if it wasn't for Israel, we'd need to invent an Israel. He's like, you know how many aircraft carriers we need in the Mediterranean to basically make up for like what Israel does? Because there's 400. I think there's like 400,000 troops in the IDF. For America to have that kind of, they'd have to put 400,000 American troops in the Mediterranean, but now they don't. You have a bunch of people who moved to this country automatically in the military, and they do operations for Israel, but are primarily beneficial to the United States indirectly. And also, it's like there's a parallel between what's going on in Israel and what the Native Americans went through in America, what Puerto Rico went through actually too. It's the same shit. It's just a modern equivalent. It's basically we're just watching a genocide. We're watching the genocide of Native Americans, but instead of Native Americans, they're Palestinians and they're smartphones. But it's the same thing. And they're always going to come up with a reason. Like, when like the fucking natives fought back, they're like, they attacked us, so we're going to kill everyone. That's the same thing happening now. And that's the thing too. It's like, it really sucks too because the Jews have been through a lot, but it was primarily through Europe. Europeans were the ones who oppressed Jews. It wasn't Palestinians. It wasn't Arabs. It was fucking Germans and Russians primarily. It was the pogroms in Russia. It was the Holocaust in Germany. Those were the people who killed the Jews. It wasn't fucking Habibi. It was Hitler. Like, sorry, So, but they're weaponizing that trauma to essentially create it's basically they're using the Holocaust to essentially justify another Holocaust. And America, the Democratic Party's hypocrisy is coming out because regardless of whether you vote Republican or Democrat, both parties are pro-American empire. And having this destabilizing force in the Middle East is good for the American empire. Israel's existence is good for the American empire. Having a weak Russia is good for the American empire. That's another thing too. The Ukraine's filled with Nazis. Like literally, like Vice was doing documentaries back in 2016 of like, Ukraine's a real problem. But it's true. Like you have guys Zig Heiling and all this other shit. And, you know, we're funding them. And it's not because they're good guys. It's not because Ukraine is some progressive utopia. It's because Ukraine is being, and we don't care about the Ukrainian people either. Hundreds of thousands of people have died. People talk about the Gaza thing, and they should. Yeah. It's like 40, 50, 60,000 people in the Middle East. But the Russia-Ukraine war, hundreds of thousands of people have died. And it's just,
it's funny how the coverage of that falls off real quick once the...
Yeah. And America is literally, America's behind both of it. Like you could say the Gaza genocide's an American proxy war. Israel's not spending their own money; they're spending our money. Our tax money's funding that shit. Just like our tax money's funding the Ukraine war. Just like our tax money is funding all kinds of shadow wars and shadow conflicts all over the world.
Do you think that money actually exists then? Like I know it exists for us, but at a certain point, just like you were saying, like it's all made up money that, like venture capitalists, it's all money that's on a piece of paper. Right, there's no value behind these things.
It's your belief,
right?
If you believe in something, it's real, and if you have a collect, and that's the thing too. It's like, in order to stop believing in it, we would need an alternative, and we really don't know what the alternative is. And initially, especially if you change something as instrumental as the U.S. dollar or like the idea of fiat currency, there will initially be chaos, and that doesn't sound good. So we kind of just nod our head and go, okay,
right.
Like for example,
we sort of been trained for chaos too.
Yeah,
you know, we're sort of trained like, hey, we're gonna have a snowstorm. Go to the supermarket.
Yeah, fight it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Get all the toilet paper.
Yeah, at this point,
kill your neighbor.
It's like you need to figure out a better way to tell people shit.
Exactly, but that's the thing too. It's like we're in this capitalist system. So like for example, so the news can't be like, hey, there's a snowstorm. You know, depending on the severity of the storm, it might be good to get a few supplies.
Right. They have to be like, get the fuck
go now. Oh my fucking God. And that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like, because then it stimulates the economy. There's the grocery stores making more money. More people are watching because they're pumping them full of fear.
Yeah.
The ad revenue comes in because more people are watching. So basically this fear and sensationalism essentially is its own like kind of corner of the economy. So you have to pump people with fear and anxiety and dread, which then creates chaos, and then they report on the chaos, which creates more fear, anxiety, and dread. So it's like this cycle. Yeah. And the whole time, a handful of people are making money off of it because it keeps the clicks going. It keeps the ad revenue coming in. It keeps the toilet paper selling and the grocery store open. And, you know, if someone gets shot over a parking spot, they cover that. And people are like, oh my God, and it's so bad. And then the police, who are only there they're not there to protect people. They're there to protect property. People get scared of crime. So the more money goes to the police. And if this happens on a macro level, it just keeps growing.
Yeah. Also, have you seen the influx of shitty ass security guards?
I have.
I'm like, I don't feel safe.
Yeah, no,
you know
not
what I'm
at
saying?
all.
No events I go to, I'm like, I'm not safe here.
Yeah, no. They're not, and they don't like. They're not going to die for.
No.
They're not going to die protecting you or anyone else. Yeah, we don't have. Like, it is what it is.
People aren't aspiring to be police officers like they used to be.
Cops fucking suck, and everyone knows cops suck. The internet ruined police officers.
Yeah.
Because like before, like cops are always shit, but we didn't know. Now we're like, oh, these guys are like just basically sociopaths funded by the state in their own kind of cute gang.
Right.
That's basically what it is.
They make a lot of money, bro.
And then, dude, SFPD I think starts at like 140,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and all they do is sit around and watch people die of drug overdoses.
Hey, you're still low middle class at that point.
Yeah, it's San Francisco. He's still on Section 8 housing.
Yeah,
140K.
Exactly. That's crazy.
Actually, I read about this. There's an RV homeless encampment in San Jose, and it's primarily police officers.
Really?
I swear to God.
Yo, what's up with that RV off to the side of the fucking Bay Bridge?
I don't know.
Right as you're driving.
I've seen it.
Dude's got a setup out there.
Yeah. I don't know what but he's balling. He's chilling.
Let's go visit him.
Dude, do you want to be interviewed?
That's what I'm saying.
Do you want to be on Bay Area memes?
Sure.
He's like, get the fuck away from me. You're going to blow up the spot.
David Sucio and Abraham Woodliff died today.
But, you know, that's essentially, you know, what it is. And, you know, that's kind of how I see the world. And it's not a very bright outlook, but like, that's why I write and make memes, and hopefully people like the shit, you know. And it's like not like all like food is great too. Like, you know, like the world could be on fire, but you can enjoy a great meal.
Yeah, for sure.
You can laugh at a joke. You can, you know, whatever the fuck. But if people are paying attention, shit's not good, and there's no way out. Like, that's the truth. Like, it's not gonna get better. It's gonna get worse. And it's gonna get worse. And it's gonna be the same bad ideas, but like in the Bay Area, they're gonna have a minority tell you it, and you're gonna be okay with it because you don't want to be a racist.
Yeah.
And in the South, they're gonna have some shitty old white guy tell you looks like Colonel Sanders, and that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be the same bad ideas, but different presentations. And that's America. And get ready for World War III.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think there's ever going to be a tax on U.S. soil? I don't think that's going to happen.
I have no idea. I think...
Like, we all saw what happened last time, bro. Pearl Harbor, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think there'll be a tax on U.S. soil. I think the major countries will use proxy wars rather than direct attacks. Like, I don't foresee America directly attacking, like, Russia.
Yeah.
Or
do you see robots happening?
I see hacks. I see energy grid failures.
Yeah.
I see things like that as much more likely. I don't see it. Also, America has a very blessed geography. We have wide open space on both the Pacific and the Atlantic.
Yeah.
We're also segregated from a lot of the world. We're pretty far from Europe. We're pretty far from Asia.
We got the water.
Yeah, we have the water separating us from Asia and Europe. It'd be very difficult. Also, we have, I think, the second largest nuclear arsenal in the world.
Who's got the first?
Russia.
Really?
Yeah, so let's start problems with them. Isn't that fun?
Right.
Let's start problems with the guy with the most nukes ever.
I don't think that these guys always talk about nukes and fucking Korea too, and I'm like, you guys aren't gonna do it.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing, though. But all it takes is one guy.
Right. Yeah. I think it's mostly like their assistant. You know, like exactly. It's like that guy.
Yeah, the guy. There's gonna be a guy who's a guy, but like
that's what I'm saying.
But it's a game of chicken, but it's a very dangerous game of chicken. Like you know how like most people don't commit suicide but have thoughts of suicide, but there's always that one guy who does kill himself. You get a world leader whose back's against the wall, who is going to die either way. He might say fuck it.
See, that's why I don't think we should have Hunter Biden in office.
I don't think Hunter Biden's. I think we have to worry about Russia. Yeah, because like Russia's not a weak country, but it's also not an incredibly strong country. And if NATO keeps pushing on Russia and we keep funding Russia and we keep bringing because the Ukrainians are getting slaughtered. We're running out of Ukrainians to fight. So we're going to start sending other people in. And Russia will eventually bleed out. They're not invincible. If it gets to a point where like there's consistent attacks on like Moscow or something and Russia's back's against the wall.
You could see them.
You could see like, Vladimir Putin's old.
Right.
He's old.
Yeah, right. If he's gonna die, who the fuck cares?
Like, it's like exactly. He's like, well, you know, fuck it.
Who's after him? Who comes in when
that's impossible.
They don't have that, right?
That's impossible.
Fidel Castro had his
Castro's a beast.
Picked out.
I love Fidel Castro.
Really? Why is that?
Because he's just like he's kind of a badass.
Yeah.
He's kind of a badass. Like he spit in America's face like 100 times, and he's like their next door neighbor.
He definitely did.
And like they try
he's
to
like on the smallest.
Yeah, he's in this like tiny little fucking island, and they're like keep trying to kill him. He's like suck my dick.
Yeah, right.
Also, like I think he was like getting interviewed by Barbara Walters or some shit. She was like trying to fuck him. It was like the best thing ever. Like she was flirting with Fidel Castro the whole time. He's kind of a badass.
Yeah.
Also, when America,
I like Family Guy's rendition of
Fidel. Yeah, Fidel's funny.
Yeah,
he's funny. Also, like what's even funnier is like Fidel Castro had like their healthcare system's only a little bit behind ours, which is embarrassing because we have the most expensive healthcare in the world. I think we're like 30. Don't quote me on this. I could be wrong. I think we're like 34, 35 in the world for healthcare, and like Cuba's 37. And they're like under an embargo, and they're poor as fuck, and they're kind of directly able to compete. Also, their literacy rate's higher than ours. Like 14% of Americans can't fucking read. Like almost everyone in Cuba can read. So like technically they have a better educated population.
Yeah.
And they actually like fund doctors and people, you know, they make sure people learn, and they don't really rely on the Western world. They're kind of their own ecosystem, and that's due to not saying Fidel Castro's a perfect guy. Fidel Castro was deeply homophobic. There's a lot of bad shit he did. But he told America to suck his dick, and he survived, which is tough to do because a lot of countries have told America to suck his dick, and they didn't make like Gaddafi.
Right.
Gaddafi told America to suck my dick, and he got a knife in the asshole. So most people aren't built like him, you know?
Yeah.
Fidel Castro is a beast. He is, even if you don't like him. Right. Even if you're like, because like there's a lot of Cubans in Florida like fuck Fidel, you know. But it's like he's kind of a badass. Like, what are you gonna do? What
do you think about all the like tech leaders like Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and all these guys?
I've actually seen Elon Musk in person, which is funny. Like I used to live in Soma.
Is he tall?
He's fatter in person.
Oh, okay.
I saw him from like far away. I wasn't like right next to him, but like this was back when he first bought Twitter. I was living in Soma, like 3 blocks from the Twitter headquarters, and I used to go on these exercise walks that were pointless because I just eat trash all day afterwards. But I'd go on these exercise walks down Market Street, and as I was walking by, Elon Musk was walking out. And I looked at him for maybe like 15, 20 seconds. I'm like, oh, fuck, there's Elon Musk. And he was kind of surrounded by like an entourage and a few guys who looked like very serious security. Not like the security we have, like security that looks like they'll fuck you up.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was like kind of ushered into his car or whatever the fuck. And that was it. And then like 10, maybe 15 steps later, I saw some guy shaking on the ground. And I'm like, where in hell? This is hell. San Francisco's hell. Because it was weird. It was like I was maybe like if I said, "Hey, Elon," he would have heard me. I was that close to him. I wasn't like next to him, but he would have, you know. And then I saw some guy who smelled horrible shaking on the ground, maybe 1/10 of a mile from one of the richest people on the planet. And I go, "Something's wrong." Oh, sorry about that. Something is wrong here. And you know that's kind of honestly, all my content it just boils down to class angst. If you really look at Bay Area memes, there's obviously some dumb, stupid like Mac Dre, or the Bay Area is foggy, you know, that type of shit. But most of my content's just like class rage and it's like impotent rage. Like I know I can't do anything except for like scream into the void. The America's also great at tricking people into thinking they're having freedom and into thinking they have freedom because they do pretty much allow you to say anything. Yeah. They just don't allow you to do anything. It's like the greatest psyop ever. Like you could go out right now with a bullhorn and be like, "Fuck Joe Biden, suck my dick, haha." No one cares. It's fine. Some people will probably agree. You could say "fuck Donald Trump." Everyone will agree it's the Bay, and you know, but it doesn't matter because they're still going to do whatever the fuck they want. You know, in China and other places, I think their propaganda isn't sophisticated enough to allow that to happen. Because people will actually go, "Oh, that guy's onto something." Here, we're used to shit talk and sensationalism, and we're used to like blowing hot air. So we kind of just say things and know nothing's going to happen. Most activists are like that on both the right and the left. They're like, "Fuck them," you know. They won't do anything though. There's only a few activists in the Bay Area who do anything, and I'm not one of them. I don't do shit. Yeah. But there's a few guys who I respect that actually go and like scream in cops' faces. And there's this.
Do you think that actually does anything though?
Does it do anything? No, but it's kind of cathartic.
So I'm like, if we remove all the homeless, like where are the people that work to get rid of the homeless going to work? You know what I mean? Like if your whole life is about giving back to the poor, like I'm talking everything.
Are you talking about the non-profit industrial complex?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, it doesn't make no sense.
They could find other jobs, I'm sure. They could find something. I don't think everyone needs, I don't think like a certain percentage of the population needs to perpetually live in hell to be a jobs program from some guy with a liberal arts degree. Yeah. I don't think that needs to, you know. I think that you need to build housing, put people, like most of our problems are stupid. They're fake problems.
Yeah, first of all.
When I found out like, you know, Trump went to Pack Heights and in one night got $12 million. Given to him for a campaign contribution in one night. Yeah. You kind of realize
somebody else said that to me too.
Yeah. Someone, yeah.
Like he just rolls in.
Yeah.
Does it in pieces.
Exactly. People have that kind of money in San Francisco. There's San Francisco is actually the billionaire capital of the world in terms of major cities. There's more billionaires per capita in San Francisco than any other city in the world.
I don't get why they don't just fix shit and call it fucking Zuckerman Benioff.
Zuckerman Benioff. That'd be kind of funny.
I mean, come on, man.
Like welcome to the Zuck Me Off Hospital.
Zuck Benioff Hospital.
Zuck Benioff. That's fucking. And the building looks like a dick.
There you go.
Like the fact that the Salesforce Tower looks like a penis and actually has like a shaft and like it even has like a circumcision line.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy.
There you go.
But yeah,
love that.
So yeah, it's you know. But the thing is if they do that, they are a threat to the continuity of the system we're in.
Yeah.
So could they do it? Yes. But then everything starts to break down. And I think I think when you get rich enough, certain people sit you down and they go, "Hey, don't cause any problems." And if you do cause problems, we'll get rid of you. Like no one's too big to be killed. No. Like JFK proved no one's too big to be killed.
Right.
So it's like,
do you think we'll ever have another presidential assassination?
I hope.
Right.
No.
I think it's hard to pull off.
It's hard to pull off, but Ronald Reagan got shot. That wasn't that long ago. That was in the 80s.
Right.
They almost killed Reagan, and that's pretty funny. Like
right, but in the 80s still it was
in the 80s, yeah. I don't think so, but you know, I don't want to deter anyone from trying. If you have it in you,
allegedly,
I'm joking.
I don't even know.
I'm a comedian. I wouldn't do it.
Right.
But if you do, that's on you.
Are you actually a comedian?
Kind of.
Okay.
I tell jokes. I've actually done stand-up comedy. I've done stand-up comedy.
What is the goal? What's the ultimate goal for you? Like, where do you want to be?
I just want to live off my writing.
Okay.
That's the whole thing. So basically, like, my whole goal, and I know it's a long thing, I just want to live off of writing books, short stories, novels, poetry. If I have to do this silly meme clown bullshit, I'll do that to get there. I'm slowly but surely making my way. The thing is, like, I'm a kid with a GED, but I have over 200 professionally published articles. I am able to exist in the Bay Area without a college degree, but my goal is to eventually, and it's like a 5-year plan. I think in the next 5 years, if I do what I'm supposed to do, I think if I could make like $80,000 a year off of writing, I've made it in my head. I'm not a millionaire. I don't think that even if I became a millionaire, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it. Like, I remember, like,
you need to Bobby Lee it.
Yeah,
Just give
exactly.
all your money to somebody to manage it.
Yeah, because like I've when I first got into tech, I went from making $42,000 a year to making $80,000 a year.
Yeah,
that was a lot of money to me, and I just got into a bunch of debt. I blew my money. I was fucking dumb.
Yeah,
and now I make just like, now I'm also still in tech. I make just under 6 figures. I'm at like that, right at that line, that 100K line, and I don't know what to do with it. And so I just buy dumb shit. I DoorDash all the fucking time. I don't do anything cool. Like, everyone's like, you should invest your money in crypto. I'm like still in debt. I have more debt than I have money in savings. I'm kind of a fucking idiot. Contrary to being part Jewish, not good with money. I don't know what I'm doing. But, you know, if I was like a millionaire, I don't know what I would do with it. And I also think it detaches you to an extent. Like, I don't think having a lot of money past a certain, I think it's good at a certain point. I think like, I don't think anyone should have more than like, at the very most, like $250,000 a year. Because I think once you get past $250,000 a year, you start kind of leaving the planet a little bit.
Yeah.
If I could make $80,000 to $100,000 a year off of writing, which I'm nowhere near close to doing, but I think I can if I work hard, then I think I've made it. That's my goal. Do I think I'll get to that goal? If I work hard, I think I will, but I'm also lazy, so it's kind of a 50-50 chance.
Right.
But that's kind of all I want. I just really like writing. It's cathartic for me. It's like therapy. That's why I have a book out of poetry and short stories. I'm working on novels. I've written fucking a bazillion articles for Broke-Ass Stuart, for SF Gate, for SF Standard, for Bold Italic before they shut me down. But that's really my goal. Like, it's not that crazy. Like, I'm not trying to be like, everyone's like, you should run for office. And I'm like, for one, I wouldn't be successful. And for two, with my ideas and
you got a politician face.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's like, you're white. But like, that's, you know, if I could do that, if I were to be a politician to be successful, they would shoot me in the head.
Yeah.
I would, with the ideas I have, I would absolutely be killed. So, you know, and I wouldn't even be successful to begin with. So there's that. So all I want to do is write. I want to just write my little articles, have fun, if I could live in a condo like this off of writing, I've made it in my head. If I could live in like a gentrifying part of East Oakland in a nice condo, I've done it. That's it. Basically, I lived in a garage. I lived in a homeless shelter with my mom when I was a kid. I lived in Section 8 housing in downtown Martinez. I lived in Oakland before that. My mom was like from the Mission before it became like trendy. It was just like people, you know, screaming outside. That's all it was. So
still is.
It still is, but now it's expensive. It's just fucking annoying.
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
Pick a fucking struggle. Like,
right.
If you're gonna, if I have to step in piss and watch you shoot heroin, I shouldn't pay $4K. Like, fuck you.
Right.
But that's you know,
500 square.
That's
foot
the thing.
apartment.
It's like the Bay Area. That's what's crazy about the Bay Area. You get the gentrification prices without any of the benefits.
Right.
You're still in hell, but you have to pay as if you're in a nice neighborhood.
Yeah, but it's San Francisco, the city that never sleeps.
Exactly.
Oh wait,
it does. Everything closes at 10 o'clock because we're scared of the homeless. Literally, like, it's like San Francisco's like, that's why there's no fucking businesses. I was talking to an owner in San Francisco. They're like, yeah, we close up because we're scared homeless people are going to come in and start problems. He's like, that's like the unspoken truth of San Francisco. They close early because they're scared someone's going to throw shit in their patron's face or something.
Yeah, you just got to have security at this time. Like,
that's the thing, but then sometimes security guards are a little too crazy, like the Banco Brown thing,
where
you have a fucking security guard shoot someone who's mentally ill for no fucking reason. And then
that was a CVS, no?
Yeah, that was a CVS on Market Street.
Why does the guy at CVS have a gun? Like at Best Buy, they don't have.
Why isn't he in jail?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and once again,
that is true. It just got dismissed.
They just let it go because it was a homeless trans person. Also, it was a female to male trans person. That's because like basically, once again, no disrespect to trans people, but Banco Brown was born a woman, right? Because I was watching the video of the security guard who was born a man, fucking mollywop Banco. And I'm like, this fight looked a little one-sided. I'm like, it was just, you know, and it didn't feel like a guy just beating up another, you know, it felt like someone who really couldn't defend themselves.
Yeah.
And then Banco's like, fuck you. And then just Banco got shot in the chest. And then basically San Francisco, progressive San Francisco, basically let a trans person of color be executed, not even by a cop, by like a security guard from Pittsburgh. Like, that's why I make fun of the city, because it's fake. The city's fake. All of it's fake. So
I think it's going to be one of those cities like in the future, just because we have the driverless cars and no other city has that. It's going to be like Blade Runner.
I agree. Yeah. I think San Francisco's like America's first cyberpunk city.
Yeah, for sure. And you're going to have these buildings connected at the top, and you'll have to pay to be able to go above floor 10. And anything under floor 10 is fucking fucked. Debauchery and just homeless people and shit. And people are going to be living above Carl.
Yeah, no,
just
I honestly think you're right. And I had, so when I lived in Soma for a year, I remember the first time I was ever scared in a city.
Yeah.
Because I lived in Oakland, I lived in Vallejo, I saw a bunch of shit. I was never really nervous. And I'm like, I can handle San Francisco. I lived in Oakland for a lot of my life, even as a kid.
Yeah.
Lived in Vallejo. But I saw a guy screaming to himself, swinging machetes at no one. And this was by the car. And I was terrified. He was like, fuck. And he was just swinging machetes like crazy. Yeah. And I'm like, I am not built for San Francisco. Right. I need to go back to Oakland where I'm safe. Like, I literally, like, when I got back, I live in, like, I don't even live in, like, a nice part of Oakland. I live in, like, Funktown. Like, there's, like, shootings and shit in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
But when I got back from Soma, I felt so much better. But, like, I saw this guy swinging machetes. My heart rate started pounding. There's like, fucking, you know, like, these tents everywhere. Because you know the part of the mission. Actually, it's kind of close to where we first met. Fucking, you know where the fucking skate park is?
Yeah.
And like one side's the Mission, one side's Soma.
Yeah.
I lived right there, but on the Soma side.
Okay.
And there used to be this massive homeless encampment there.
Yeah.
And
they
there
had
used to be
showers.
Yeah, it was
right
crazy.
next to the highway.
Yeah, right there. I lived in
like,
luxury condos next to that.
I literally see a guy like take a shower. I'm like, what the
butt
fuck?
naked.
Yeah, dude.
It was so, San Francisco's so crazy.
Dude.
But I was walking to Target and some guy was screaming, swinging machetes. And then I was scared and I just stayed in Target for like 30 minutes till he left because I was like terrified of the guy. And then I was walking back under the overpass, basically through the homeless encampment, and this guy was like cooking. He had like an open fire on the ground. He like lit trash on fire, and he's like cooking beans. He stole some shit from Target, and he was like cooking the soup that he stole from Target on the trash. And then I I was walking towards my my condo, and I look to the left, and I see a car driving itself. And I'm like, this is a dystopian sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
this is literally
legit.
Like
it's gonna be that,
and it's gonna just get worse.
Yeah. And we're in the best time for there to actually be a Batman.
Oh, for sure.
Like a tech couple is going to get murdered, and that kid is going to be the evil kid that fucks everything up.
Batman's a piece of shit. Fuck Batman.
Yeah.
I think the Joker's a way better person. Like, literally a better... I think the Joker is a more moral person than Batman, but that's a whole different discussion. But like...
Did the Joker have parents?
Well, if you go with the Joaquin Phoenix version, he had his mom... And his father, well, in the movie, they kind of suggest that Batman and him are half brothers. That's the interesting.
That's what's going on.
Remember he confronted, I forgot the name, something Wayne, Batman's dad. There's a scene in the bathroom. He's like, I look just like you. Do you not see me? And then like the Wayne guy punches him in the face and says, get the fuck out of here. Because the Joker.
And that's why Joker killed his dad?
Exactly. Because basically, and there's a class element to it too. So basically, Batman's dad had an affair with the secretary who was the Joker's mom. And then just told her to fuck off and said she was mentally ill. And so that's the conflict between Batman and Joker. So they're both from the same. It's basically like what happens. It's basically two people with potential for leadership when one is essentially institutionalized like Batman, and the other, like, they're not institutionalized like criminally insane, but is embraced by the system, and while the other one is cast away from the system. And basically these two, it's honestly a critique or kind of a metaphor about society as a whole between the haves and have-nots, coming from the same place, everyone coming to America to make money, only some people doing it, and everyone essentially coming from the same idea but having this conflict because only so many people can be let in while most people be cast aside, which is why at the end of the Joker movie, that's why you see the uprising and so many people with the clown mask and shit like that, because most people are the Joker, even if they don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
While very few people are a Wayne, even if they think they are. Because there's dude, the Joker's a great movie. I kind of nerd out with that.
I know you went in on that.
Yeah,
shit.
no, like the scene where like he's being rejected.
Are you on Reddit's like? Fucking...
no, this is just how I think. I just fucking go. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know what the fuck I'm gonna say. If I think about what I'm gonna say, I never sound good.
Yeah.
But if I just like empty my mind and just open my mouth, it's like, there you go.
That's what the way I do the show as well.
Exactly, because like thinking fucks things up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the problem with liberal humor. Like, they're like, I don't want to offend anybody, so they're never funny. But like,
but you care about perfection, and that's to me the difference between good comedy and bad comedy. Because I don't want to. I know that it's scripted. Yeah. But I don't want to feel that it's scripted.
Exactly. You want the inspiration to come from a real place, but they wrote it.
Exactly.
So you know that's the thing. But yeah, this has been a great fucking. This is like fucking
Sucio Talked podcast,
yeah, dude,
baby.
This has been awesome.
Yeah,
this has been awesome. I didn't know if this was gonna go well or not, so I was like, "Fuck, I don't know if this is gonna be awesome."
You kidding me, dude? I want to do what I want to do is have. You should have a news segment.
Dude, I'm down.
And you should come here weekly.
Dude, I'm so down to do a podcast once a week, and I'll just like go. I'll just rant about news stories, get in a lot of trouble. We can live stream it on your thing and my thing.
There you go. Yeah, simultaneously. Let's go.
I'm down.
Yeah, because I like to talk shit, and not a lot of people are afraid of this. You know, they don't want to come on here. They don't want to say what they feel.
Yeah, I just don't care. Honestly, after the tumor, because I could have died, I just don't care anymore. I'm just like, you know, if I die, I die. Which I don't think anyone's gonna kill me. I'm not important enough.
Did you get spiritual during that time?
I don't know.
Like, did you ask God for forgiveness?
Yeah, I pray. Well, the thing is I'm agnostic, but I'm not an annoying agnostic guy where it's like, there's no God. I go, there could be. I don't know.
Right.
You know, so do I pray? Yes. Do I know if anyone's listening? Have no idea, but it's just as likely as anything else. That's kind of how I see it. It's like, we don't know what we're doing. We're floating on a fuck. Anyone who's like an absolute atheist, in my view, or an absolute religious person, like they 100% know, I think they're just as crazy. Like, you know, Bill Maher's like super smug, like, I'm an atheist. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking. He's just some fucking guy.
No, he's been getting roasted.
I fucking hate Bill Maher.
Show.
I fucking hate Bill Maher.
Bill Burr let him have it a few weeks ago.
I love Bill Burr.
Bill Burr's the shit.
Bill Maher's such a fucking pretentious cunt. Bill Maher's like Bill Maher is literally like, Bill Maher is the greatest personification of San Francisco. A smug, wealthy liberal who thinks he's ahead of the curve, but really he's just a boomer who smokes weed.
Right.
That's all he is. He's like edgy for the 60s, but he doesn't realize that. So he's like, let me tell you, kid, something. Yeah. I'm going to say something provocative. We should vote for a woman. It's like, shut up. That's not even a big deal. He's like, I'm for gay marriage. Shut up. That's not a big deal. When are you going to say kill the rich, Bill?
Yeah. He's turned into a big weenie.
He's like super pro-Israel and like, and once again, like, you know, if you're pro-Israel, you're pro-genocide. I hate to say it, like, and this goes out to all the Jewish listeners. This isn't anti-Jewish, but if you're looking at what's happening in the Middle East and you think that's okay, and you think a country like that should be allowed to continue to do things like that, if you were a German, you'd probably be a Nazi.
Oh, say it with your chest. That's what I'm talking about.
That's
People are afraid. People are afraid
you know,
to say that shit. And, you know, it's unfortunate. Now we can't have an argument, you know, or a conversation. I would rather just have arguments again.
Yeah, I like that. Exactly.
Because then we can all just get back to work.
Everyone's good. No one wants to fight anymore. That's why everyone has guns.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if everyone just fought and like was like, okay, my bad, I was tripping, that'd be so much better.
They should have more like regulated combat.
Exactly, like regulate, like two guys put on like, you know, boxing gloves.
Yeah.
If you win, you win. You lose, you lose. And then you go back to your fucking line.
They should do that in corporate offices.
Oh my God, they should. They should do that with politicians. Let Trump and Biden fight. I'm bored.
For sure. Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know who would win. They're both old as fuck. Everyone says like Trump would win, but Trump's old and fat. I don't know. He just talks shit. I don't know who's gonna win.
I don't know that Trump works out at all.
I don't. Yeah, they both die. Like, they just get winded and die. That's another thing.
You'd have to give him a sword.
Or what if they did like a duel? Like they did like the backs,
like with the horses and the fucking sticks.
That'd be crazy.
What are those things called?
But yeah, dude, this is That 2 hours went by so fucking fast.
That's right, baby.
That's crazy.
That's right.
Thank you for letting me just rant.
Yeah, dude. So tell them your information before we go.
So Real Barry and Memes on Instagram, Barry and Memes on Facebook. Abe is a bad writer if you want to check out my writing on Instagram. There's also my Substack called Problematic Abraham Woodliff on Substack. You can also read my writing at Broke-Ass Stuart. You can read one article at SF Gate and maybe SF Standard if they ever fucking publish anything I write. But we'll see. But yeah, check me out. I love you guys. Bye.
Fuck yeah, baby. Bay Area Memes in the house. Abraham Woodliff. Let's go, baby. Sucio Talk Podcast, Oakland. Shout out to
California.
everybody. Yeah, but that's right, baby. That's right.
That was fucking great.
Here, let me take a picture of you real quick.
Sure. Put the headphones
So
on.
I can-
Official podcast, dude.
I'm going to go with this.
All right, there you go.
It's better than those cameras for... I don't know why I did that to myself, but whatever. By the way, you're on ChatGPT.
Oh, am I? Fantastic.
Yeah, I typed you in and it got all your information.
Did it really?
Oh, yeah.
That's fucking... They know who I am. That's wild.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
I didn't know it was that important.